The Z to Z Podcast.
Good morning, good evening, or good day, and welcome to the Z to Z Podcast, the home for Xbox achievement hunters and Gamerscore junkies. I'm your host, Brandon Freeman. Thank you so much for listening. At Z to Z, we love gaming in particular, grabbing achievements and gaining Gamerscore. We do news, reviews, and interviews. If it's about achievements, we'll unlock it. You can find show notes for this show, as well as our previous shows, on our website, z2z.com. This is episode 105. You can also contact us with questions and comments on Twitter at Z2Z, Z-E-D-T-O-Z-E-D, over at our forums, forum.z2z.com, or email us directly, contact@z2z.com. So I don't get to join you guys again this week. It's, that holiday season, a lot of familial obligations, so I'm going to turn it over to some of my other co-hosts. What am I kidding? Familial obligations. I got 2 Christmas parties, and I'm going to be blasted. So I couldn't possibly record this weekend. But I will come back the weekend right before Christmas, and I think we are doing our Game of the Year kind of wrap-up 2017, because then when we come out with that episode, it'll be right before the new year, and we can finish up with one more episode at the very start of 2018 and talk about how excited we are about all the stuff that's coming out then. So that's the plan for the upcoming shows. Before I kick it over to my co-hosts, I want to do the game mashup question. We had a ton of correct responses last week, but to give you an idea of what the game mashup is, so I've been saying it's Wheel of Fortune because that's where I know it from. Kronos has been saying it's from Jeopardy. I'm sure Jeopardy does it before and after as well. But the idea is you take 2 game titles and mash them together with the end of one game title being the same word as the beginning of the next one. So, as an example, let me give you week 4's answer. The clue was, this mashup is all about taking down blacklist targets, either through racing cars or curving bullets. Those targets will pay. And so the answer to that one is Need for Speed Most Wanted, Weapons of Fate. Need for Speed Most Wanted, Wanted Weapons of Fate. Bam! Combine them for that. So this one, a little trickier. That one was easy. And we got a ton of people who sent me a private message in my Discord channel, which I should mention here as well, is the official Z2Z Discord channel. We have changed it. We have fixed it. It is now back under, so I changed the name of the server and how you get there. So I believe my link still works, discord.me/Freemhole. I think that still gets you there. But the one we're going to be promoting from now on, discord.io/Z2Z, all one word, Z-E-D-T-O-Z-E-D, like our Twitter handle. So that's discord.io/Z2Z. So that will get you an invite to the official Z2Z Discord server, and it is wonderful. So anyway, you can send me a message through there and tell me what the answer to this is. So let me give you the clue. Ready? Week 5. Remember that UbiArt game depicting the Allied resistance to repel the relentless Skaven assault on Ubersreich? Didn't realize those rat men had access to mustard gas. So it's a little trickier this time. I think you guys can figure it out. I'm sure you can. You guys are great at these. So with that, I think, though, we'll move into the rest of the regular show. I'm not sure I have anything else to discuss here. I have plenty to talk about at the tail end of the show. We'll do a little zombie news. I'll do a little bit of contest roundup stuff. But boy, you should kick it here with Proulx, Randy, and the Mighty Mango. So here we go, guys. You guys take it away.
Hey, Freem, thanks for another fantastic, or should I say dantastic, intro. Freem obviously couldn't be here this week, so it's going to be just another me and Randy week. Randy, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Just all right. No, nothing exciting happened. Nothing.
I mean,
fun.
That's pretty good for me. I mean, we'll talk about it. All right. And by the way, I was maybe fibbing a little bit. We actually joined by a fantastic community member. Everybody here, I'm sure. Not everybody, maybe. I don't know. How famous do you think you are? We have
I think most people know who I am.
I would think so. We have Mr. Mighty Mango joining us. Welcome to the show, Mango. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. I'm fantastic. Thank you very much.
I hear it's a little snowy and cold where you're at.
Yeah, a little bit of snow, a little bit of cold. I got to see how poorly they plow the roads by my new country house, but it's not bad. I mean, it's kind of pretty.
So you got to invest in some snowshoes, huh?
Snowshoes. Tomorrow morning, I'm looking forward to actually firing up my bucket mower and bucket tractor thing and removing all the snow for the first time.
Oh, yeah. You know, my brother actually is I don't know, what do you call them? A snowshoer? Snowshoeist?
Probably a snowshoer.
I guess. He has
snowshoe.
Yeah. He actually has a pair, and he goes out and in the middle of the winter, just goes into the middle of the woods with these snowshoes on. I think it's the craziest thing, but my brother's a pretty crazy guy. Anyways.
Sounds kind of fun. I'd do it once.
Yeah, I'd probably do it once and be like, oh, this is tiring. I'm done.
Yeah. So anyways, Mango, welcome to the show. We're excited to have you. And you know what? We're just going to kind of go right into the show as normal. Let's have some fun, guys. So I guess we'll just start with sort of a recap, maybe some win of the weeks. And Mango, I know that you had something that you wanted to talk about here. So I'll let you go first since you're our guest.
I had a couple wins of the week, not even necessarily gaming related, but one win of the week I had is I sold my other house. So my butler will be extremely happy. I only have one house to clean anymore.
You had him doing double duty?
Yeah, he had to do double duty. Cadbury was not happy with me, but he's okay now.
Oh, wow, that is rough.
Cadbury, is that your...
That's my butler's name.
That's your butler's name? Cadbury.
That's my butler's name, yep. And then I also... had another win is that I went and saw Star Wars, the new movie. The Last Jedi, I saw it twice actually in 24 hours. It's just as good the second time. I saw it both in 3D and normal. So I prefer the 3D version. I guess they didn't do a lot of, sometimes 3D movies have like where they do stupid little party tricks and stuff like that. And this didn't have any of that. It all seemed very practical and appropriate for the moments in the film. So it was good. No spoilers. It was good.
Yeah, no spoilers. I'm a little torn on this one because I'm starting to get a bit of Star Wars fatigue, I think. So I'm like Force Awakens was decent, and then Rogue One was okay, and now this one I'm like, okay. I don't know. I normally I would be there. I would have seen it 3 times by now, but I'm just kind of like, okay, I'll go this weekend if I have time. If not, I'll go next weekend or whatever. So you're telling me, you're saying, you're recommending it. It's worth going.
I'm recommending it, but you're having that discussion. Actually, as my daughter was saying the same thing. She goes, Dad, when we were leaving from the movie yesterday, she goes, Dad, how many more movies do you think they're going to do before people get tired of it? And I was like, I think some people already are getting tired of it. But I'll still go, and as far as I'm concerned, as long as Disney's making money, people are still going to be going, and they're still going to be making more movies.
You know what?
I give them at least 3 more because I'm with you. I think the one Star Wars, I haven't seen any of them, but I mean,
wait, like ever or just these?
No, just the recent ones. But like one a year seems like a lot.
Well, it's starting to be like the Assassin's Creed of movies.
Yeah, exactly. One a year is too much for almost any kind of big franchise. I think that goes for games. It goes for movies. It's just too much because then they get rushed.
Yeah.
They always get rushed, and they always are. You're always under the strict deadline, and I don't think you can have. Plus, just fatigue in general it's not as exciting when it happens every year.
Yeah, and
where like when GTA 6 comes out, that's gonna be a big deal because it's probably been 8 or 10 years since the last game.
Well, it should be interesting with next year's version of the movie, which is supposed to be based on Han Solo. So
right.
Without Harrison Ford in it, as far as I know.
Creatively titled Han Solo, a Star Wars story. So I don't know. I think they're already, I don't know. Han Solo's a cool guy. He's a great character. I don't think I need to see a movie about him when he was a young twerp. I don't know. And here's the thing. I'm a massive Star Wars fan. I don't know when it set in for me. I guess I liked Force Awakens. Like I said, I enjoyed Rogue One. But now I'm just to this point. It's like, okay, if there are okay movies coming out every year, then I'll watch them, but I'm not going to get excited about them. I'm not sure.
Do you think it's the commercial machine just kind of beating it into your head for the last 8 weeks of the movies coming out? And here's the breakfast cereal that you can have for the movie, and then the cereal bowl you can put it in, and then the jug of milk that you can get that's also from Star Wars while you go and get it in your car.
It's blue milk, of course. Yes.
I bought Star Wars lettuce the other day.
Star Wars lettuce, really?
Yes, because it's awesome. It's on the lettuce package. It's got that new C-3PO guy with the bald bottom. Because I guess he looks like lettuce. So Dole has partnered with Disney or Star Wars or whatever to put him on the lettuce.
I think
of lettuce. Oh, Disney.
I have a sneaking suspicion Disney may come up in our conversation later on. But I would say, you know what? At least 1.5 good wins of the week for you there, Mango.
I think so.
Congratulations on selling your house. That's a great accomplishment.
It was a huge stressor, so I'm glad to be over with it.
Yeah, I'm sure. Randy, did you sell any major pieces of? God, I don't even know. Did you do anything super significant, or what is your win of the week? What's the best thing that happened to you this week, gaming or otherwise? If you want to go into that.
Well, gaming wasn't really that exciting. I played Agents of Fun, and that's about it.
Did you finish it yet?
No, the stupid connected contracts, they're ridiculous. Because it's basically, they're designed for 6 people to all be actively playing for 3 straight hours. Which, what ends up happening is,
right?
Yeah, the online stuff where it's just you join this contract. You've got 24 hours from when it was created. I don't know. They roll over at 6 a.m. or something. And then it's just kill 2,000 enemies and kill 900 enemies with special attacks and kill 300 enemies with mayhem attacks in 24 hours. And then it expires and it's replaced with a new one. You have to do 15 of those, so you can have up to 6 people at the same time participating. But what ends up happening is 4 or 5 of the 6 people just join and play for 2 minutes and then watch Netflix. And so what ends up happening is 1 or 2 people carry the whole contract. You're lucky if it's 2. So today I did at least 1,500 kills, at least 800 special attack kills, and at least 250 mayhem kills by myself on the one contract the one contract I completed. Then the other one I did same thing, basically entirely by myself. So I probably played for 5 hours today and got 2 of the 15 contracts that I need.
That is not fun.
It's stupid. So, I mean, if you have a group of friends, you can make them private to friends, but I don't have a group of friends that all want to work on those.
Better or worse than the Saints Row 2 online?
Probably worse. It's more boring.
Really?
Yeah, because none of these things you can do naturally. They're too grindy to be done naturally, and you have to do so many of them that you can't, you have such a small time frame to get it done. Especially, I'm assuming most people probably don't want to play it for 8 straight hours a day to get all these done. So it's okay, I'm going to pick 1 or 2 of these contracts that are easier today, maybe, if there are any even doable ones that day. And, maybe try and get one or 2 of them done in 3 hours. If I'm lucky, I'll get 2 if someone else is helping. Yeah, it's not fun. And so, when you're doing it that way, you can't just play missions and make progress. You can play missions and restart a checkpoint over and over and over again if you need a certain enemy to kill, or there's a spot where a lot of enemies spawn or something like that. But you can't just play naturally and expect to get anything done in the contracts, which is part of the problem too, because there are sometimes people that are online playing that are in your contract, but because they're just playing the campaign or whatever, they're not making any progress. Because they are, but it's
so
50
is the contract
of 2,000
a different
kills.
Mode, or is it you sign the contract, which is the online function, and you go play the campaign, and then the contracts are part of the campaign or integrated into it?
It's basically just a challenge, so anything counts except for there's a training simulation mode that are challenges, and they tell you what enemies are in these challenges, and it's basically you're just in a room, a bunch of these guys spawn, try and survive, and it's a set difficulty or like set whatever. Those don't count for the contracts. That would actually make many of the contracts quite doable, because you could have enemies reliably spawn, or turrets or whatever. The things that you need to kill can spawn consistently. Because part of the problem is it's like, okay, kill 32 of these guys. Well, I have to kill 5 waves of other guys out in the open world area to get one of these guys to spawn, which takes 10 or 15 minutes every time. So 30 kills ends up taking 6 hours because you're the only one doing it.
That's awful.
Which makes it not possible. Yeah, it makes it not possible. So like ones like that, I just don't even do. I mean,
how many of these contracts do you have to do?
15.
15? Okay.
But there's only 3 a day. There's only 3 different ones a day, and there are some days where all 3 of them are basically impossible. So because the requirements are so high that you pretty much can't do them.
So do you and you have to get it done that day? Is that the case?
Yeah, you have 24 hours and then it expires. 24 hours from when it was issued, which is there's like a rollover time every 24 hours.
How many are you at right now?
I think I'm at like 9.
Oh, so you're getting there.
Yeah, I'm getting there, but I'm probably 15 to 20 hours in dedicated to contracts.
So you'll be at probably
it's
30,
probably a 30
it's
probably a
hours.
30-hour achievement, I'd say. I mean, it could be much less if you had a group of 6 people that were all working on it, or the online user base was more active. But right now, if you're doing it kind of by yourself or with whoever happens to start a contract that day, probably looking at the 30-hour achievement. Yeah.
I don't know if you saw.
And it's not fun. It's not a fun achievement either.
It doesn't sound like it.
I don't know if you saw, Randy, because you weren't on the show last week, but a lot of positive feedback for your Saints of Row. I was going to say Saints of Row.
I know. I did see that in the chat.
Yeah. Your Cuphead and your Agents of Mayhem reviews got a lot of positive feedback last week. So, maybe keep that in mind.
And I'll follow up on Agents of Mayhem it started to kind of seem a little more coherent, and then by the end of the story, it was just as confused as it was at the beginning. So there were some characters that were decent or like better put together than others, but it's just so it can't decide what like I kind of talked about last week. It just doesn't know what it's trying to be, which is a real problem. It lacks focus on anything. It doesn't get repetitive throughout the story, but if you're going to do everything, get all the achievements, it gets very repetitive very quickly. So that's unfortunate. Outside of the story, the content is pretty lacking. So of course, they say there's 50 hours of open world content, which is killing the same enemies that don't spawn in any significant number when you need them to, and collect 1 million crystals. So the same as Saints Row 4.
Yeah.
It's really the same issue as Saints Row 4, is you have all these stupid challenges you have to do after the game is over that you basically can't make progress on naturally.
So things they made to make the game artificially longer.
Yeah. So, but if it ended at like 25, 30 hours, great. It would have been much better. Because the 10 to 15 hours of campaign was pretty fun. It's pretty good. But it's got stuff like max out the level of every agent, do all the side missions the side missions are okay. They're better than finding crystals, but yeah, like find all the crystals. The connected contracts are just brutal because they weren't, I don't know. I think they were really designed assuming you have 6 people playing for kind of significant extended sessions all at the same time, all actively working on these contracts, which I don't think would ever have happened at any point in this game's life. The requirement is too high.
It sounds like
on all of them. Yeah, it was kind of, and really like you're gonna do like one. The reward isn't even good. It's not worth doing. So unless you're going for the achievement, that's really the only reason you would have to do more than 1 or 2 of them.
So you think you'll be done this week?
We'll see. Depends on what I could be done this weekend if I can finish all 3 contracts Saturday and Sunday. Probably won't happen. Just being realistic, it's I've never finished all 3 in a day because there's always one that's too hard.
I can tell you right now, I wouldn't be able to do that and then do Saints Row later. I'd be exhausted.
Yeah, I just want to get it done. I'm just worried because of, I have generally kind of underperformed that maybe they'll kill the servers off early.
Hey, you know what?
And I don't really want to lose my series completion. That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So
we may be talking later about some server closers as well. So,
but
do you have any other wins this week?
I mean, I wouldn't really call it my win. That's kind of my little rant, my little follow-up review to Agents of Mayhem. But the price of Ether is my win of the week because I think I made more money on my investments than I did at my job this week.
Ooh, that's nice.
So that's pretty good. It's close, I think.
So if this trend continues next week, you'll be a bazillionaire, and then the week after trillionaire.
Next week, maybe it'll double again. That would be nice. Yeah, I'm more than double my investment I made 3 weeks ago. So
how long are you going to stick into it? Are you going to bail out before it crashes? At least try to.
Nah, I think I'm gonna play the long game. That was kind of my intention. I don't think I'm going to lose money on it at this point. I don't think it's going to crash that much. So
I don't think so either.
It's Bitcoin might. I don't think Ether will. Ether is still cheap.
I think Bitcoin is way artificially high right now.
Oh, yeah, because it keeps getting media attention.
Yep.
So people keep hearing, oh, that's cool. But people don't know what it is. They don't know, why it's good. And they just buy it. Oh, yeah. It's going up.
We will see.
Bad time to buy.
Yeah.
Bad time to buy. Don't.
Did you?
I would say Ether. I'm even skeptical. Like with the gains it's had in the last week, it's like I don't know. I don't know if it's a good time to buy. Because I was thinking like, man, I should put more money in that. And I'm like, no, that's gambling. It's getting dangerous because I like to gamble on stocks and things.
What if it was a loot box generator? Mining loot boxes.
Oh boy, let's not even get into that. That doesn't sound like anything I want to talk about.
We can't have a week of the ZZ podcast without a loot box mention.
What about you, Proulx? Do you have any wins this week?
You know what I do, and it was mentioned last week. I'm gonna top Freem's win of the week last week with my own. I completed Microsoft Solitaire Collection this week. Yay!
Very nice.
Literally a year. I know, no time fiddling. That was literally a year in the making. You have to do the 12 months, I think.
And it is a brutal year because I did that too.
It is.
I mean, I did time fiddling, but I would do generally 3 months at a time. I'd go back and I'd do 3 months worth of challenges in a couple sittings.
That sounds awful. That sounds brutal.
Awful. It's really hard, but that's the only way I can do games like that. It's like I can't sit down and play them every day. I just don't want to, and I don't. I mean, there are a lot of days where I just don't even turn on my Xbox or I don't play any games. So it works the best for me that way. But yeah, it is especially Solitaire because I've done a lot of those games. I did Tap Tiles. I did Minesweeper. I did Solitaire. I want to say I did one more.
Jigsaw?
I didn't do Jigsaw.
Well, Solitaire was easy for me, especially, and the reason that I'm just finishing it now is because it literally came out for Android a year ago. So once it was on, the platform that I had my phone on, I would just go to work, and then, when I first get there, take the first 10 minutes of the day and just play, And so it wasn't too terrible of a grind. Like, it's not the same as turning on your Xbox every day because no matter where I go, I have my phone on me, So
I just don't tend to have a lot of time where I'm just kind of sitting around and can play on my phone. Yeah. Like I've tried that with a few games. Like, I'll make progress on Android and Tetris, and when I hit 100,000, I'll just sync it to my Windows phone and get the achievements. And it's like, I've cleared 1,000 lines in a year.
Yeah, let's not talk about Tetris.
Just because I don't have like I very rarely ever play games on my phone. But But yeah, mine I started on Windows 8, and then I imported it to Windows 10.
Okay.
Which is now the UWP version, which is on Android and iOS. So
see, I was starting to look at other games that I wanted to play now, right? Since I don't have that daily game to do anymore. And yeah, man, there may be a comprehensive list somewhere, but I'm not aware of it. So I was going through like the Windows Phone list. I'm like, I could start Minesweeper on Windows Phone. Maybe that bumps up to Windows 8, then possibly to Windows 10, then possibly to the I don't know if there's like an easy place to access that information, but I'm not sure.
I don't think that one moves up.
I wouldn't bet on anything else coming to Android anytime soon. It really does. That whole kind of Microsoft casual games thing has been really quiet lately.
And the games that are on it are broken. I mean, other than Solitaire,
yeah, a lot of them are really neglected. Yeah, both on Android and Windows. Yeah. They're becoming, the Microsoft norm. You support something for 6 months and then abandon it. And
to be fair, when Solitaire first came out to Android, the Star Challenge mode said coming soon. And when I deleted the game off of my phone 3-4 days ago, the Star Challenge mode said coming soon. So I don't think it's actually going to make its way to that platform.
No, I don't think so either. But that being said, there are some Gameloft games that will sync. They sync through. You have to use Facebook to sync them, but I'm pretty sure that you can play World at Arms on Android and sync to Windows Phone. I think you can play Tetris Blitz on Windows Phone or on Android.
Tetris Blitz, I know you can.
And all of your progress will be shared between Android and Windows Phone.
Yeah, War Planet does not work. I know that. I tried that.
Yeah, I think War Planet's too new, or not. Maybe it just doesn't work at all. But yeah, World at Arms I think does. Age of Sparta, the web version, I know for sure does. I think it's Age of Sparta, or maybe not Age of Sparta. The one that's completable. There's 2 Gameloft games that are like
Age of Empires?
Age of Empires does work too. Yeah. I mean, that's a real grind. But
yep, I just started that. That was my game I picked up.
That's your game you picked? Yeah.
That's the game I picked up for Solitaire, so we'll see how that goes.
So by the time you finish that, all the Gameloft games will probably stop working. So don't worry about that list. Although, since you have started Tetris, you could do that too.
So my problem with Tetris is, and this is kind of an aside here. At one point, I only have played Tetris Bliss on my Windows Phone. At one point, I synced it up with Facebook because I knew I was getting a new Windows Phone in the near-ish future, so I figured I'd just try it, see if it worked. Now, the problem is when you sync up your Tetris Blitz save data with Facebook, it tells you, we are going to replace any save data that you have, or when you, God, I can't remember. Now I'm gonna remember this incorrectly. But they basically said that Facebook save data is going to save over whatever other data that you have. Oh, that's what it was. I had already logged in on my second Windows Phone. Okay. So my first Windows Phone had more, like 10,000 more lines on Tetris Blitz, a whole bunch of the achievements as well. But I had already synced it to my new Windows Phone. So it was going to overwrite. Man, this is confusing. I'm going to have to write a chart for this because I can't remember basically how it worked. I remember being very concerned that I was going to lose the save data that I had on my original Windows Phone because my new Windows Phone data was it wasn't newer, but it was from a newer device. And it seemed the way that they had worded it, and I never tried it or tested it because I didn't want to lose that progress. So now I've been carrying around 2 Windows phones. I wish there was just a way you could just replace the Facebook data instead of whatever the wording says. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. Let's keep moving on here. Randy, did you play anything other than Agents of Mayhem this week?
I guess I played a little bit of Cuphead. I got A ranks on the 2 hardest bosses.
Oh,
nice.
Actually, I have A ranks on the 3 hardest bosses because the first one, my first clear, was a perfect clear. It's the first time I beat the second hardest, at least what I think is the second hardest boss, the dragon. I got a perfect. I think that's the only boss I've gotten a perfect on, which is crazy because I spent more time on that boss than any other one, and then it was just this beautiful, perfect, gorgeous run that I actually cleared it on and got an A+, which, because it was on normal, not expert, it wasn't an S rank, so I still have to get an S rank on one of the bosses, but it should be fine when I'm actually trying for it. But I got A rank on the last two bosses, which are both pretty tough, but the achievement didn't pop.
Oh.
So I don't know what's up with that. I don't know if I have to get A ranks up to that level. So I have all A ranks in the first world, not in the second world, not in the third world, and all A ranks in the fourth world. But the achievement for the fourth world didn't pop. So I don't know if I have to do world 2 and 3 before 4 will pop.
I haven't gotten far enough into it to confirm that.
But we'll see. We'll see when I go back. Good. I've also been playing through on expert. It's not that hard. I mean, there's a couple that have been a little tougher, but it's pretty doable. It's really, the completion is coming soon on that. I just have been prioritizing those stupid connected contracts before I go back and really finish it up. But it's such a good game.
Is that it? Anything else?
Yeah.
Well, I know that's not true.
I don't think.
Because...
Oh, right. We played Saints Row.
We did. Saints Row 1.
I was thinking that last... Yeah. See, that's why I'm not calling it Saints Row Fun. This was the real Saints Row.
Oh, man.
Back before Volition died.
The real Saints Row. It's so funny because...
The real Saints Row.
It's so... it's so early Xbox 360. It's great. It's very nostalgic for me to go back and do that because I haven't played it since since it came out, I guess. Really,
I haven't played it for years. I've been wanting to go back.
I played it a couple days ago.
Oh, so
yeah, you're playing a different version though, right?
I was playing the US version.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, we play Saints Row 2.
No, I was playing. Yeah, we do Saints Row 2 German. Yeah. But I've been playing. I actually started playing Saints Row 1, working on the other achievements other than Kingpin.
Oh, nice.
So
we will be doing twice on the other two versions.
Yes.
So that will be coming soon.
Yep.
But yeah, it was so much fun going back because I played a ton of Saints Row multiplayer back when it was active, and there are apparently people still play it because we got into a real match.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah, it's just one though. It's not as populated as it used to be. But yeah, it was so much fun going back and like kind of looking at my old stats and all this stuff and remembering all the glitches and exploits and gaming the true skill system. And so we started fresh. I think we used 5 accounts total? 5
yeah, I
or
had
6,
2 and you had 3. Yeah.
You.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And we did Kingpin from scratch in less than 10 games.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
He's putting my old exploit knowledge to the test.
Yeah, my profile had 3 games before it had all 4 of those achievements. And by the way, we weren't even going for those achievements. So I actually had Dominator, I think is what it's called.
Yeah.
Win 10 games in a row online. That was my achievement. And I'm like, and of course, I knew Randy was a fan of the series, and I'm like, hey, can you help me do this? Because this was for a random to-do list. And he's like, oh, yeah, sure, and we can get you a whole bunch on the way.
You had Kingpin for random to-do list?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay.
I had Dominator for a random to-do list. And Randy's like, well, if we're going to get you 10 wins, we might as well get you
We might as well get you Kingpin.
Yeah, might as well get you Kingpin.
Might as well, as no big deal. It's just a 6 point something ratio.
Yeah.
No big deal.
Easy peasy.
Yeah.
I got 800 TA. Yeah, it was.
It took us 3 hours, maybe?
Probably total for sure.
And it could have been a lot less if we were playing a different game mode. I don't know why we didn't, but
well, you were the one in charge.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is I don't know why we didn't.
No, so that went really well, and
it was so much fun going back and just seeing the multiplayer and remembering when games like Saints Row used to have competitive multiplayer in them, because I thought that was a lot of fun in a lot of games, which we don't see any of these days.
No, not like that.
No, it's So
it was weird when I was playing it. I couldn't even remember what it was like.
It's a lost era.
And then I was like, oh, this is how you do that. And fortunately, from playing Saints Row 2, the controls were still basically the same.
Yeah,
between the two games.
they're pretty much the same, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it was weird for me because
it is a little wonky. The driving is a little weird.
It's very wonky. It's extremely wonky.
But other than that, I mean, it's pretty normal. I mean, it's pretty normal for those kind of games.
Yeah, and I will say, I was, we were just hanging out in the lobby and stuff, and I don't want to say impressed. That's not the right word, but surprised by some of the little stuff. There, like we started talking about it, and like there's a bit of a good chunk of attention to detail that was going on in the game. Just different ways that you could interact with the environment. So, I mean, it's very plain. It's very simplistic. It's very early 360, but yeah, I think it was a solid game, and to come to discover
and consider too that this was early 360, but this was one of the first games that came out that was like really took advantage of the 360. So like, and it was cool that they did all that detail and things like that back before Saints Row 3 came along. Unfortunately.
No, it was cool. It was it got a little tedious towards the end, even though it was only 3 hours. It was just like running around I could see how back in the day that there was a good chunk of fun. So I appreciate your help with that.
Back in the day we weren't really boosting it either. It was, we were actually killing each other, but we did have a lot of fun jumping off of things.
Yes. Oh,
turns
God,
out that was very effective.
Yes.
Very effective at killing yourself. Is jumping off of balconies, parkades.
Does your guy yell when you jump off? Like if you jump off something, does he do that?
Yeah.
Okay, that's well worth the time then.
The other one too that I love that I forgot about is when you're on fire, the burning
the burning
noises. Yeah, the animations and the screaming. The screaming is fantastic.
So I don't know if anybody here else caught that, and maybe Mango, you're close enough where it went over your head. But we were playing in this level, I assume called Parking Garage, and Randy says parkade to me, and I'm thinking like what is this? A place you park and go into an arcade? I don't know what a parkade is. I've never heard this word before. Are you familiar with this, Mango, or not?
I don't know what that word is.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I guess it's a Canadian
word then.
It's going to be a Canadian thing.
Yeah, parkade is definitely a Canadian word. Let's look it up right now.
He said it to me so nonchalantly. He's like, "Oh, I'm on the third level of the parkade."
You Google it, it comes up noun Canadian, a multi-story parking garage.
That's good. That's funny. So it's good to know it actually has
here on Urban Dictionary, the example sentence: "Let's go park in that parkade over there, eh?"
Well, the good news is all the Canadians are sitting here going, wow, these Americans have dumb language because they don't even know what a parkade is. And Proulx and I are sitting here going, what does that even mean?
What?
So
yeah, it was pretty funny. So that's one of those Canadian words, I guess. I discover a few of those here and there.
Yeah, that happens.
I throw them out and people are like, what are you talking about? Like a toque. Toque. Do you guys know what a toque is?
I don't know what a toque is, no.
No.
It's a beanie.
Oh, okay.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. Those are toques in Canada.
Interesting.
I'm going to start calling those toques around here because we wear them a lot.
You say we. Do you have many beanies, Mango, that you wear?
Well, my kids wear them all the time.
Ah, okay. It's still a thing then. Beanies are still a thing, huh?
Yeah.
Get your toques, eh?
Yeah, get the toques on.
I mean, I wear a toque.
Yeah, it makes sense. You're in the cold.
I'm close enough to Canada, so it should be all right.
Yeah. Well. Okay, so real quick.
Now that we had our Canadian corner.
Yeah, real quick. Played the Saints Row with Randy. I'm just going to go through a little bit of the stuff that I've played. Been really hitting the 12 days challenge hard, and I'm halfway through the final day. So which is the mini leapfrog event.
Yep.
Which is cool. I'm glad. And I was worried a couple of times when I was playing some other games. I'm like, God, I hope I don't like pop an achievement in this game just to screw myself over. But I'm halfway through at this point. I think I'll be able to finish that out tomorrow or this weekend without any problems. So I've been really, really focusing on that other than this sort of regular boosting stuff. As I mentioned earlier, I guess last week, we started playing Borderlands 2, which is awesome. people playing Left 4 Dead earlier. We started playing Borderlands 2, so that's a new game we're going on, and sounds like there are some other groups interested, so check out the Looking for group in the very, very recently renamed Z to Z official podcast Discord. So we are back to the original name. Freem talked about this last week. We are now officially back to Z to Z, so that's good to hear. And then other than that, just random stuff. Played some Rock Band for random to-do list. Played some other random stuff. What about you, Mango? What have you been up to this week other than selling a house?
Well, I've been focusing on the Christmas challenge too. I've been having a blast with it. What a great idea! Like non-competitive, do it at your own pace. I mean,
yep,
perfect. And especially, I've been so busy with work and kids and Christmas time. It's just been difficult. I was hoping to be done with the challenge. Like I was doing day 1, day 2, day 3. Not the crazy like I'm going to do day 3, 2, 1, day 4, 3, 2, 1.
Crazy.
Not that crazy stuff, but I was up to the point where I was every day, and then day 11 came around, and I just got too busy. So I'm about halfway done through day 11. I need to do day 12. I'm hoping I can finish it all tomorrow. I want to get it done just because I think it's a cool challenge. Random to-do list, love it, but this week it just didn't happen. I didn't even look at my list. I don't even remember what I have in my list right now, which is kind of sad because I like it. Today I played... well, it turns out Neo Geo games are coming to Windows 10 now.
Oh, so, yes. We should
just
talk
in
about
case
this.
there weren't enough of them.
Yeah, there's
we
not
should
enough.
talk about this.
So Elroy
is it
will
all
be
of
happy.
them, or what are we up to now? Like,
There's
is it just
10
a
of them right
I
now.
think there were like 10 or so that hit
10.
today. Okay. I'm sure more will be coming. I mean, because they probably did some market research and found, hey,
people are buying
achievement
them.
hunters are buying these.
Yeah.
How can we make more of them?
This is what happened.
Windows 10 stacks, separate purchase, separate list.
What is the oh god, what is the development studio that's handling all of
Hamster?
Hamster. So I here's the meeting that happened to Hamster. The guys, they sit down in their conference room and they're like, "Look, guys, we really have to sit down and make a serious decision. We could bring these games to Windows, but we're going to have to devote a lot of internal resources and coding into porting those games over." And then they made the tough decision. No, of course not. Of course not. These are probably terrible. Will you tell me, Mango, are these ports as terrible as the Xbox ports?
Actually, in the Xbox One ones where the achievement pops and the game will kind of lag when it pops. I don't know if you've seen it on yours, but it doesn't on mine. On the computer, it doesn't do that. Doesn't do that at all. So the ports are almost better. Believe it or not.
Interesting. Okay.
I will say I played 2 of them. I played World Heroes, and I played Overtop. Overtop is that isometric kind of racer.
I like that one. That was one of my favorite ones.
I did that, and I was the second person in the world to finish it. I thought I was going to be the first, but I had to go run a couple errands, so I ended up being second.
Oh.
Yeah. I've never been first on a game completion, so I'm kind of bummed. And then World Heroes, I actually should have been done with it, but none of the achievements counted or popped. It's not synced up with Xbox.com yet, so otherwise I would have been done with that too. Other than that,
did you use your house money to buy all of these?
No. I actually had on those 2. I had enough credits stored up on my live account, so I just didn't have to pay anything. So they were technically free quotes. Other than that, I've just been playing stuff for the Christmas challenge. I'm almost done with Microsoft Jigsaw, the Windows 8 one. I have one more achievement left in that, which that game will be done next month. So the bronze challenges. Because it's the same thing. We have to do the 12-month challenges just like in Solitaire, just like in everything else. Other than that, I've been working too much to really focus on anything else. I played Flowers on my Windows Phone the other day when I was working on a Saturday.
Flowers.
I actually got an achievement in it.
Fun.
The first one I'd had in 6 years.
I was going to say,
isn't that the game came out?
Isn't that 50 Gamerscore one, right? Isn't it? Or no,
it's a 200.
Oh, okay.
It was one of the first Windows.
You're thinking
Breeze
of.
is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
It was one of the first Windows Phone games, so it's not bad.
Yeah, it was quite good. Yeah, I mean, it overstayed its welcome a little bit if you wanted to get the completion, but generally pretty fun. Yeah. It was a good game.
But other than that, that's all I've been doing. Kind of focusing on the Christmas challenge. So hopefully that'll be something to do. And then I don't know what I'm gonna do next week. I got all sorts of stuff I want to play, but we'll see how much time I have with Christmas coming up.
More ACA stacks, sounds like.
Probably. I gotta catch Elroy because he seems to be the expert master in those games. So gotta keep pace.
True. That's true. Oh God, no! I play them maybe once a month. That's about as much ACA as I can handle. But good luck to you guys, because
I think I got
about a year's worth of ACA, or maybe more than that, in my big push challenge.
I do have one game I do want to mention that I did play was Squish and the Corrupted Crystal, the kind of 2D pseudo platformer game. It's awful.
It gets a dishonorable mention.
It gets
you just wanted to bring it up. Yeah.
I wanted to bring it up because I actually reached out and talked to the developer of the game, and I feel kind of bad for saying it's awful, but it just has too many issues. And yeah, don't play it. At least not for the price. It's $15. So if you get it for $5 or free, then have your way with it. But I'm gonna say I don't recommend playing that game. It was the first game in a while that I raged quit about 3 or 4 times. And then stupid me, I went back to it and like, no, I can get this done. Nope, no, I can't. No, I can. I can get it done. No. I finally just put it down and said I'm done and walked away.
Yeah. So. It's tough sometimes to figure out where that line is, because you don't want to like give up on stuff, but sometimes it's just not worth your time.
And I'm not a rage quitter.
No,
I tend not to do that.
It's always worth your time in my case.
Yeah, I suppose that's probably true.
Unfortunately.
All right, so that's what we've been up to. So let's move on. All right, guys, let's move into news, and this one affects us personally here at Z2Z. So it kind of bears mentioning. We talked about this. I think Free mentioned it last week on the show, but Patreon changed their policy a week or two ago and faced severe backlash for it. People were very unhappy with their policy change.
Rightfully so.
I think that they wanted to gain more money in order to contribute more to charity. Is that right, Randy? I'm reading the notes here. What's the situation here? Can you tell us and fill us in here?
I mean, Patreon is a private company that takes a cut of all the transactions it runs, and they just wanted to find a way to take a larger percentage of those transactions, in my opinion. But I mean, look at it. It's like, they phrased it as, now creators only pay a flat 5% fee, period, and you know exactly how much you're going to get. It's like, well, looking at our Patreon history, aside from people changing their pledges, which would have happened anyway, regardless of the system, the amount of fees that we pay every month, I think the difference between the highest and lowest month is something like 50 cents in transaction fees. So I would say we generally know how much money we're getting every month. And so what this was is they said, creators only pay 5%, because now the patrons pay, what was it, 2 or 3% off the top plus processing with a minimum or something. So basically what it was is if you contributed less than $5, there's really no point in you contributing, because you would only, on $1, the creator would maybe get like 25 cents. And it just doesn't make any sense. The creator gets, you only pay 5%, but all of your pledges are now 5% smaller or more than they were before. So you are getting less money. There was no benefit to the creators in this structure. It was Patreon wants more money.
But Patreon was raking it in.
Yeah, and I mean, at least that's the way I see it. Maybe I'm misunderstanding it, but that sure looks like it, and I think that's why it was pretty much across the board negative feedback on this, because it doesn't make any sense. Even the way they broke it down was like, now there's more fees than there was before. It doesn't matter who you're charging those fees to.
Yeah,
they're still there. Like they're still there. They come out of the pledges. It means, okay, now people either have to pledge more or you get less. So either way, the creator's still paying it. is taken from a different piece of the transaction. So it's good that they undid this, but yeah, I mean, I don't see it as anything else other than Patreon wants more money.
Yeah,
for doing the same thing as they always have done.
I think they made a lot of people very unhappy. I think they lost a lot of business from this decision that they made.
I'm sure they did.
I saw,
and with Patreon being as young as it is, it would be very easy for somebody else to come up and say, "Hey, we'll take 2%.
Yep,
here's a new Patreon."
Yeah,
because really, they don't really do. Patreon doesn't really do much. They just facilitate gathering money from people.
They're like an eBay. They just gather. They're the in between.
And unlike eBay, they don't even. I mean, I guess technically eBay doesn't process the transactions either, but all the transactions go through PayPal anyway. Like all the payments.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe they actually charge the cards themselves, but really, like they take. I want to say more than 5%. Maybe I'm factoring in the actual PayPal fee too. I don't remember. No, yeah, because we end up paying monthly, I think somewhere between 8 and 9% of what our pledges are. Part of that goes to PayPal, part of that goes to Patreon. So personally, I think that is very high considering what they do. I mean, I don't think there's a better alternative, but I do think that that's kind of expensive for the service they provide.
I know plenty of people, I've been kind of doing this long enough where I knew plenty of people who were like, I'm just going to drop Patreon and I will let people donate, PayPal me directly. Like it's way more overhead for content creators individually, but people were so upset about this change that they were like, no, I won't do this. I won't subject the people, because of course,
because it's a pain.
Yeah,
it just the whole point of Patreon is it's convenient and easy.
Yep.
And they made
they'll just charge you every month.
Not easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and confusing and greedy, at least in my opinion, greedy.
Obviously we're the benefactors of this sort of situation. Like we know what it's like for people to give to just to support us and try to help us do what we do. And if the middleman in this situation is more inconvenient than necessary, then people will find another way around it. You know what I mean?
We'll drop them. Yeah. Yep. I mean, yeah, okay, it'll take some work to set up. But, yeah, I mean, we do it.
So this is
easy. I
think this is a really good thing to see happen. I
agree.
The blog post from the I think it was the CEO or the head of the company said
the founder,
was, we messed up, we're sorry, and we're not rolling out the fees change. This is the sort of thing that you like to see happen when companies make bad decisions, is that you get enough of a backlash that you back off. And
that's a good decision.
Yes, and agreed.
I mean, I still think it's going to hurt them.
Oh, totally. No, it already has.
But rightfully so, because... Well, the other thing, too, is it took them so long to revert. I mean, this was like 2 weeks in between when they announced this and when it happened, and people were already like, this is my income. I need to do damage control today.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And 2 weeks is too long to, you make you make a new plan today, because if you don't, well, maybe you can't pay the rent next month.
Yeah. Right. Which is not good.
Yeah, which is bad, and I'm sure they lost a lot of business, and I just hate how they worded it. And maybe that was the intention, but it really doesn't seem like it. On that first notice that went out, that was like, "This is for the creators." I just hate that.
Yeah,
it's like, no, I really don't believe you that it is, but
so we want to say,
I don't know the intention. I wasn't there, but. Yeah, I don't like that, but I am glad, like you said.
Their explanation is more sincere than, say, EA and the Battlefront fiasco.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's the case. I think if you read the whole blog post, it's not long, but check it out. I do think it reeks of somebody backpedaling only because of the negative impact that's happened, but I do think that they generally maybe didn't see it coming, or... Maybe they just got a little greedy, and they
it is still a young company too, and I'm sure it is run by people that don't have a lot of experience.
Yeah.
Or, some people anyway. I mean, it's probably big enough and had enough funding that they can get some bigger people on board. But, yeah, I mean, it happens. But they did the right thing in the end, and they listened, unlike companies like EA.
Yeah.
They listened.
But I do think it's important.
EA is still making the right decision for EA shareholders. It's just not making its customers happy.
I do think it's important that we bring it up, only because obviously we're supported here by Patreon, and
and Patreon does provide a very, as much as I do disagree with the price, Patreon does provide a very good service for us and saves us time, which is very valuable when this is all a hobby.
Yeah.
We all put a lot of time in, and there's only so much time to do extra things or manage extra things, like figuring out a way to get payments. And if Patreon takes 5%, well, that saves us a whole lot of time. So
yes, but we will. We've got our eyes on you, Patreon. Next time you try to pull nonsense like this, I think it'll be devastating.
And maybe Shovelware Empire will come along with Patreon on, and the spiritual successor to Patreon. You heard it here first, Shovelware Empire.
So yes, basically what we wanted to say is thank you to everybody who supports us through Patreon every week. Obviously, with this rollback, there's the concern has been lifted, at least temporarily, but we'll keep our eyes on Patreon if this sort of stuff happens in the future, and if need be, like many other people, we'll find an alternative if we have to. So
yeah, if it comes down to Patreon says, hey, we're taking 15%, or we now have a $20 minimum, we'll figure something out.
Yeah,
of course. And the nice thing is, because we have so many patrons that go above our minimum level of operation, if for some reason there was a month where we couldn't take payments, we do have money saved up in case something happens. If we drop below our threshold, for some reason, if half our patrons drop and we drop below the threshold for a month or two, we can afford to keep operating, which is very, at least to me, it's very comforting knowing that if something were to happen, we're not like, okay, now we got to start emptying our bank accounts to keep the podcast going, have all of our things lapse and not be able to produce.
I think a lot of community members wouldn't let that happen. So just my 2 cents.
I don't think so either. I'm just saying that, if some catastrophic event happened or that were to happen, I like having that little cushion of money in our little bank account.
Yeah, Patreon will never be our downfall. That's I guess that's the bottom line at this point. So
yeah.
Okay, cool. So that's kind of the relevant. It was a relevant news topic, but it's also relevant to the show as well. So it was just something that we needed to touch on. But let's move back into some gaming here. You guys both saw, I know, your Xbox year, and I'm putting year in air quotes. In review.
We'll call it an Xbox year.
Yeah, Xbox year. The Microsoft year.
Or Microsoft year.
A Microsoft year. So, Mango, what did your Xbox Microsoft quote-unquote year in review look like?
Well, it apparently Clicker Heroes is my number one game, and it's an RPG.
Nice.
Because I don't play a lot of RPGs. Apparently that is an RPG, and then Lies of Astaroth, and Gems of War. Notice I've got 3 games that are all freemium games as my most played. And I have 408 hours apparently in those games, which is insane because I don't think I've played them that long. But I suppose Clicker Heroes kind of running in the background or just kind of just running.
Wait, give us your whole top 5.
My top 5 is Clicker Heroes, Titanfall, Gems of War, and then Rainbow Six Vegas 2 German, and then Lies of Astaroth.
How does it distinguish in this email? Just out of sheer curiosity, does it say? How did you know that it was the German version?
It actually says RB6V2/DE. So it
actually has the
DE.
Gamer. Okay.
It actually has the gamer ID.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. So what was your total achievements? It says there.
My total achievements is 1538.
All right. I'm looking at mine now. By the way, when I teased it, the date range that's given in this email is from the 1st of this year until Halloween of this year. It's very strange that they don't include any of November or December, or that they didn't send this out afterwards, obviously. But even it doesn't include up to the present date. It stops 31st of October.
Yeah,
henceforth.
But look at all these high tech arrows and circles spinning on the screen.
I know, it's all fancy.
And there's this text up in the top left that's just scrolling. Yeah.
So
it's like a movie.
It's like a movie. What are your top 5, Randy? I'm curious.
I'm not sure how this worked out for my top 5, but I mean, 2 I understand, 1 I don't. 1 is Saints Row 4.
Yep. I have 2. That's my number 2. Yeah.
I maybe from idling, maybe it's counting all 3 versions that we played. I'm very confused how that made it there,
could that
because
be the top game? The game's not that long.
Because it couldn't. Well, I mean, there's an achievement for playing for 40 hours, but I've played, I'm sure, many games for more than 40 hours this year. I know 1 I left on for a really long time. Like, I think it was the 360 Australian version, because I was trying to get 1 achievement for random to-do list, and I ended up leaving on for like 100 hours. But even so, I feel like I've played other games more than 100 hours this year, but maybe not. It doesn't say which version it is, so it's just Saints Row 4. Grand Theft Auto 5 is number 2. That makes sense because we did the heists. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And all of the other GTA Online achievements, which involved a lot of rubber banding and idling. So that makes sense. Lots of idling there. 3 is Guitar Hero Live, which also makes sense. Lots of strumming.
That should be higher.
I feel like that should be higher. Yeah, because, I mean, the strums is like 60 hours, probably. To do all of GH Live on whatever GHTV stuff is like 60 hours. But I guess GTA 5 probably idled for longer than that. So, yeah, makes sense. But between the 2 versions of Guitar Hero Live, it would be a lot more. But I don't know why it's not on there twice, because I did the 360 and the 1 versions. Maybe it is. I don't know. Maybe the
idea is combining them, which is odd.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm confused how this works. Number 4 is Killer Instinct. That makes sense. I played quite a bit of Killer Instinct in general. And Oblivion is number 5. Not sure how Oblivion is number 5.
That's awesome.
Because I did not play it for that long. Maybe 30 hours.
You kind of blasted right through that one.
Yeah, because I just wanted to get it done. I didn't want to play it. I just got that cheater weapon, and then... But I don't know... I don't think I left it on. I don't know why I would have left it on at some point.
Does it say Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, or does it just say Oblivion?
No, it just says Oblivion.
Interesting. Okay.
Well, I mean, these are going to go, I assume, like the way Rainbow Six is, how they show up when you look at your achievements on a list on 360, because like a lot of the German games say DE or BRD.
How many total achievements do you have? Is it
1,880.
So you got more than I do.
And 72,478 Gamerscore. I have.
We had that huge. You had that huge September, October.
Yeah,
yep, that's what it was.
Yep, that's why. Yeah. Apparently, though, my most played month was January. That must have been GTA or Saints Row, probably. Most played genres. Apparently, I have 841 action adventure hours. That would be idling in GTA and Saints Row, probably. 287 shooter. Not sure where that's from. And 248 RPG. No idea, because I'm pretty sure the only RPG I played this year was Oblivion. And I don't think I played Oblivion for 250 hours. I'm just looking through my list here, and I don't see.
What was your total hours played?
Right let's see. Where does it say
that?
It's
towards the bottom.
Oh, total hours played 1,596.
What about yours, Mango?
I'm letting it refresh. My potato internet has to get it.
Michigan internet. Yeah.
I had
or Minnesota.
I
had 1339.
Oh, okay. Wow.
I'm only top 2% in hours played, apparently. Top 1% in Gamerscore, top 1% in achievements.
Yeah, I'm top 3 in hours played.
Yeah, I've played 2348, so I'm a little bit ahead of you guys. Yeah.
Is that from all that money clicking?
So okay, I'm excited to share my top 5 most played games. So I'm going to ask. I think you would both know this, but can you guess what my number 1 most played game? It's the game
Clicker Heroes.
Rocket League.
It's Rocket League. It is Rocket League. Yes.
Yeah.
Which is why I think sports is my number 3 most played genre by hour. It has to be because it's the only sports game that, presumably, quote unquote, sports game that I would play. So Rocket League is number 1. And by the way, on this list, Rocket League is the only one that has a trademark next to it. Everything else does not. Interesting enough. Saints Row is number 2 for me as well, Randy, and there's no way, even if I combined all the Saints Row 4s that we've played, there's no way Saints Row 4 should be above my number 3, which is Clicker Heroes. So
there's no way.
I don't know. No. I'd like to know how they determined this because
this is I don't get it.
It's flimsy at best. We'll say that. So Saints Row 4 for me, then Clicker Heroes, then Titanfall, of course, because we played that all year.
I played that a lot.
Yeah, and then Stardew Valley, which actually 90% of that was played by my girlfriend. So I guess she played that quite a bit this year. Other than that, 1157 hours in action-adventure games, 517 in shooters, and then 252 in Rocket League, quote-unquote, sports.
Its data for Saints Row must be goofy. It's got to be.
Yeah, goofy. It must be. It's got to be.
Or, because I'm looking at Saints Row 4 on Xbox One is 33 hours of clock time, which, obviously it's missing some. And I still don't know where this RPG points are coming from or hours played. Unless Vaccine is an RPG, or even then, it's not that much. Or Dead Rising, maybe. Maybe they're counting Dead Rising as an RPG. But I don't know.
I'm actually surprised my hours played is as low as it is, but
yeah, I don't know. I don't think that this, honestly, I trust TA's stats way more than what this email is. So
completely agree.
It's interesting to see how Xbox is tracking us versus how TA is. But yeah, no, thanks again. Why are they calling it this year when it ends? It doesn't make any sense.
Well, it's an Xbox year. No, so what are your player types?
I'm an ace. I don't know what that means, but
I'm legendary.
Oh, damn. Which one's more important? How do we know?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Is that the one for total Gamerscore?
I don't know what
maybe?
it's.
I don't know.
Oh, and that's probably what it is. It has to be, because that's really the only significant difference. Me and Randy would be right in the same boat, and then you'd be obviously significantly higher. It's got to be it, right?
Yeah.
It's got to be total.
Something's wonky, though.
Anyways, look forward to, I think, next week or the week after. I believe it's next week. Our Xbox year in review here on the show. But yeah, check out the link. We'll put it on the show notes. But it's just interesting to see again how Microsoft is tracking us versus TA, which we're used to doing day in and day out. But let's move on, guys. Let's talk about monopolies. Oh wait, we have two different news items about monopolies.
The Monopoly guy, or just monopolies?
We can talk about either Monopoly the board game, or we can talk about actual monopolies. Which one do you guys want to start with?
Let's talk about real ones.
So real ones. Okay. So Disney has purchased Fox, the entertainment division of Fox, for 50 some odd billion dollars. That's a significant amount of money. So how do you guys feel about this?
It's a lot of dollars.
Yeah.
It's a lot of dollars, and it's just Disney buying up more stuff. I'm actually kind of lukewarm with it, because I see what they could make with what they just bought, but I don't like the fact of Disney getting so big.
It's kind of getting ridiculous at this point, how big and, monopoly-ish.
So I believe,
it's getting,
and this is anecdotal, but I believe I saw an article earlier tonight that said that they would own roughly 40% of both the television and movie industries if this deal is allowed to go through, which gave me a little bit of pause. I said, okay, maybe that's too much. You guys feel the same way?
I mean,
that's
much.
getting in like cable company territory where you just, there's like 3 of you. Because obviously the only way you can possibly, pretend to compete with them is have some other company that's just as big buy up the other 40%. And then...
Oh, yes, the other company that's just as big as Disney. Of course, that other company.
Comcast.
Yeah, I guess it would be...
And we know how lovely Comcast is. Comcast.
The problem is I think that Disney has a lot more public goodwill than these other companies do, so they're given kind of a pass for this sort of thing. I mean,
I gave Disney a pass kind of up until I want to say like buying Marvel point. Then it's like, okay, maybe you're buying too much now.
And then they bought Star Wars. And then
Did Marvel come before?
No, Marvel was
before Star Wars.
Marvel was before Star Wars. Yep.
Okay, I was thinking it was the other way around.
No.
And in fact, if I remember correctly, it was Marvel in like 2007 or 2006, and at that time it was considered an exorbitant amount of money how much they paid for Marvel. And then the same thing happened with Star Wars in 2012,
which was also thought about being a ton of money.
Yep,
which
and then
pales
Disney
in comparison.
is so good at marketing and monetizing and doing everything Disney does. And I will say generally Disney does a pretty good job, but like now that they're getting like the yearly thing going with Star Wars, it's kind of pushing. And like the amount of Marvel movies that come out now, I mean, like they're not bad, but it's like I feel like this like one comes out every 6 months. I don't know if that's true or I just
3.
They just go over my head, but like
2 to 3 a year.
It seems like a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know. Man, if we could take the Marvel piece out of this, I would say, I think my gut instinct would be like, no, don't let them do this. This is too much. This is over the top. I want Marvel to have access to all the Marvel characters.
Same here.
I just want to see that cool stuff on the screen, but I don't think Disney should own that much. I really like these. No. It's too much, I think. I think we should, and this merger has to be approved and all that sort of stuff, or this acquisition has to be approved. Honestly, even though my nerd heart says yes, please, it's probably for the best if this is not allowed to go through.
And I will say though, like if this was Comcast, you replace Disney with Comcast and what they own and their size.
People will be up in arms.
Yep. I would. There would be no question in my mind that this is like no way. You cannot let them do that. Because Comcast is notorious for just taking advantage of everyone and everything. Like they're a terrible, 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 awful company. Pretty like. I don't think there's anybody other than maybe an employee of Comcast that has anything nice to say about Comcast or Time Warner or whatever.
Well, I know I don't.
But Disney,
my Comcast email proves that.
It's the worst. They're the worst. But Disney doesn't see. I mean, like in my knowledge of Disney, I haven't had as much experience with them as I have with Comcast and Time Warner, but I feel like Disney doesn't really just push everything to like the very edge of what is legal to make 5 more cents on your transaction or whatever. Like you said, I feel like Disney has a lot more public goodwill, which makes it less bad, I would say. But I mean, that doesn't mean
perceived,
that they should...
perceived less bad, I'll say.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, again, that doesn't mean they should be able to own 40% of 2 industries.
No, absolutely not.
That's too much. It gets to the point you're too big. You can't. it's not allowed. I mean, that doesn't just go for...
Well, I mean, think about how much stuff Disney actually owns that you watch. Just think about it for a second. If you're into sports ball, ESPN is owned by Disney.
Yep.
Watch TV, like half the channels are owned by Disney.
A third of Hulu is owned by Disney.
If you go watch a movie, there's a good chance that Disney was involved with it. I mean, it's insane how much they actually own.
Now, I will say is I think Disney is trying to kill Netflix. That's what I think in this acquisition. I think Disney's trying to kill Netflix.
Well, I think they're aiming right for that market because Netflix basically has the monopoly there, them and Hulu.
Well, the reason... Well, I mean, like, Hulu is...
Which is part Disney.
It's pretty... Yeah, part Disney. But, I mean, at least there's an alternative. I mean,
well,
Amazon
and here's
Video
the thing too,
a little bit.
Like,
but
Disney's had a partnership with Netflix for a long time with all their Marvel shows as well.
Yeah, but they just can't that.
Yeah, well, no. Well, it's kind of unclear.
Kind of. I mean,
it's kind of a gray area.
Yeah, but no, I totally agree
I
with
think
you.
what they're doing is they're going to pull out of Hulu and, I mean, maybe not Hulu, but I would suspect Hulu as well. Pull all of their newly acquired IP out of Hulu and Netflix, and then the Disney streaming service launches.
Yep. And here's the thing. I mean, I would subscribe. Like, I'm a Netflix. I mean, like, I'm an only Netflix subscriber. I feel like that's enough for me. But if they put all the Marvel stuff, if they put Star Wars on there, if they put all the they know they have everything. Like you mentioned, Mango, they have sports and blah blah blah. Like they have everything.
But then when does it get to the point that you just buy cable again?
Well,
because
that seems to be the way we're going.
You've got three or four streaming services all now, and then maybe 5 if you watch.
I kind of view
like a CBS show
streaming
or something.
services kind of how multiplayer gaming's kind of taken in like the forefront right now.
Yeah,
where everybody's doing multiplayer, and then eventually single player will come back. I kind of see where everybody's doing streaming service. Oh, we need to have a streaming service. Oh, so do we. Hey, can we have one too? And eventually you're just paying more for all the streaming services just to watch the 5 shows you want to watch, so it's more expensive than just having cable in the first place.
Yeah. Which is unfortunate because it was really nice when you could just have Netflix and Hulu and everything that you wanted to watch was on those two.
You know what? Fortunately, with all this...
I mean, that's still what I have. I mean, if it's not on there, then we just don't watch it. But...
Yeah.
I was just Amazon and Netflix, and we have DirecTV because my internet's so slow that I can't have everybody watching Netflix at the same time.
Oh, yeah. We also have Amazon, but I don't think we've watched it in like 3 years.
I've had Amazon Prime for like 10 years, and I've never watched an Amazon Prime anything. Like
I watch one show on there.
I think there have been a couple of movies that we watched that were on there, not on other places or something.
I watched the Grand Tour. It's car stuff, so I watch that. Well, it's the former Top Gear guys, so.
Oh yeah, that's right. Well, there you go, guys. This is a developing story. Obviously, this is significant for maybe not directly for what we're talking about, but I think it's obviously important. And we'll see what pans out here in the next few weeks and months. But maybe, let's not let Disney buy everything. How's that sound?
Yeah, I agree.
And that doesn't just go for Disney. I mean, I would apply that to pretty much any company.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Any industry.
I kind of...
This is not just a Disney thing.
No,
I mean, Disney is just the company right now that is growing a little bit too fast, I think, and a little bit too big.
And that's the thing, too. Like, I like Disney. I think that they do a good job generally, and they do well enough by their customers. But even them being the best case scenario, no, it's probably best if we don't put all that power in one company's hands. So we'll see what happens. We don't know, but maybe let's cool off with all the merging. And competition is good. I think we all want competition. So
yeah.
Let's move on. We'll talk.
Agreed.
We'll talk about PUBG launching. Have either of you played it?
I have not.
Not yet.
And my only reason why is because there's no achievements in it. Achievements have kind of ruined my gameplay. So if I see a game without them, I kind of go, I want to play it, but I got these other games with achievements I want to do.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I've seen some friends playing it, and I'm kind of interested in it, but I think I'll wait. Who knows how long it's going to be in game preview program, of course. Hey, you know what? I saw somebody post I think a picture on Reddit. They're actually selling retail copies of the game preview version.
Yes.
Really?
That's crazy.
Yes, they are. They are. Yeah.
So for $30, you can buy a disc of the game preview version of PUBG on Xbox One. Is that the case?
Yes.
Wow. Wild. It's a wild world we live in. It's not even a real game yet, and you can buy it.
So when the game becomes the real game, does the preview version that you have on disc become the real game?
It has to, right?
It should.
I would hope so.
I mean, that's how it is if you buy it digital, so I don't see why not. I mean, I don't think they can just make it not work anymore. That'd be a ripoff.
You know,
there would be an outrage. If that happened, there would be an outrage.
I have a feeling
then it would happen.
We may talk about this topic a little bit later on the show, so maybe we'll hold that for later. Hey,
outrage or physical games?
The difference between the expectations of what you buy versus what you get.
Yes.
Let's cover real quick one more news item, guys. There's this game called Final Station. Can you guys tell me what's going on with that?
Oh, yeah.
Because I've heard some weird rumors about it.
It's crazy.
They decided to release a new DLC pack for the game, which is interesting.
Okay, that's pretty standard fare so far. What's going on?
Yep. Well, the DLC has 1,300 points Gamerscore possible in it. So there's more Gamerscore available in the DLC than there is in the actual...
One DLC pack.
In the game, it's a single DLC pack.
Yeah.
Now, does it double the size of the game? Do we know exactly what's involved in this DLC pack, or what's going on?
Not really.
No. Okay. Although this is a first, right?
It does. So apparently it requires, I think, 11 to 12 more playthroughs.
Yeah, there's 13 achievements, and it looks like you have to play through it with everybody that you have in
13
the game.
Different characters.
Actually, it's with 12 different characters, and then it has one that has nothing to do with finishing the game. All the other ones are finishing the game.
Yep. So,
which that's unheard of for a DLC pack to be like that. I mean, we haven't seen anything like that at all.
Where the DLC pack is bigger,
than the game.
Than the base game.
Yeah, wasn't there rules that you could only do however many X at a time? Or what?
I had heard that the rules were based on a time frame. So it was like, you could add 500 points a quarter or something. I don't know if it was a quarter, but something like that, where it was like, you can add this many points per this period. And basically what happened was, like, places just never took advantage of it. So, you got your one achievement for 5 points or whatever that you add in your one DLC pack. But if you wanted to, you could make that one achievement for 500 points or 250 points or whatever the limit was if you had waited long enough. So, like, because the Final Station came out quite some time ago,
maybe they just banked up all the days.
Maybe that was their limit.
They could use.
They just said, okay, it's been this long. This is the rule. Why not make it, as many points as we can.
I mean, and to be fair, the DLC is only $5, so it's actually relatively cheap.
Oh yeah.
So.
No, I'm just not looking forward to having to play through the game 12 times.
That's a lot.
It's a short game, but it's that's probably a 20-hour DLC pack. 20 hours of playing the same content over and over again. Yeah. You
have to assume that this DLC would be worth a tremendous amount of TA as well, right? If
right now it is. It's at it's worth 15,135.
That's amazing.
And I think only 4 people have it, so I'm sure that will only go up.
And it does have a commonality with another game, Darkest of Days. It has a shoot the horse achievement. Darkest of Days had the punch the horse. This one has shoot the horse. So it has
right.
Everybody that listens to Zed's Edge should definitely pick this one up because you kind of get to beat a dead horse.
Oh, boom! Look at Mango coming on, making the jokes. All right, that's fair.
Oh, so it looks like. Oh, never mind. I was looking at this on the store, and there was a sale, but that's on the base.
Yeah, the base game's on sale.
The base game is on sale. Yeah. I'm just trying to figure out what exactly this DLC is, because the download size is 10 megabytes. So it must just unlock and update. Let's see.
Maybe it just unlocks like a menu for the different playable characters.
It says new, fight new enemies, explore new locations, choose your companions.
I wonder if it adds a menu at the beginning where you can pick somebody.
Oh, see, this is what it is. So it's not playing the game as different characters. It's finishing the game with different people that you save. So it says each survivor now has personal traits, abilities, and stories to tell. You can have only one companion at a time in your car, so choose who you want to travel with wisely. Explore the world of the final station in depth, get answers to some unresolved questions, and learn personal stories about the characters you met in the main game. So it looks like you play as a different character, and you drive a car instead of a train, and see some new stuff.
All right.
I mean, so that sounds good if you didn't have to do it 12 times.
Once or twice, fine, not 12.
12. Yeah, 12 is a little much. But Final Station was a pretty fun game, so
there are
we'll see.
A few games, right, that have had all of their DLC equal to be more than the base 1,000, right?
Yeah, that's not super uncommon, but
it's one
I
DLC.
Can't think of a case where one DLC was more than the base. Yeah.
So this is kind of wild, and we were talking a little bit about this before. We all have this game, but I think it was from what was it called? I was going to say grab bag, but
the first mix pot.
Mix pot, yep. From last year. So I don't know. I doubt I'll be playing this game anytime soon, but it might be worth it for the TA at some point. So
I'll pick up the DLC and see what it's about. I mean, I was going to go back to the game anyway. Eventually.
$5
and for $5.
That's pretty good at full price. I mean, and it sounds like it is like a proper real DLC that's not just like here's some characters. I mean, it sounds like it's kind of like a real side story to go with the game. So that's kind of nice. Not what's it called? The one in Dante's Inferno where they just reskin 2 enemies that you could finish in 10 minutes.
Oh yes. Oh, what was that one?
What was that called? And then, of course, Moxies.
Yep.
Oh,
Moxie.
don't even bring Moxie.
Moxies.
Okay, let's move on. We're done with news, folks. Let's talk about some feedback. Skeptical Mario has quite a few things here, so we'll just go through them one by one real quick. And I'm going to take this first one to start because I am a massive Superman fan. He asks, what kind of video games would Superman play? He also says in parentheses, or plays with any superhero. I think that's a little too broad of a question, so we'll stick with Superman. I think Superman is going to play some sort of... I think he's going to be playing some sort
Superman
of an RT.
64.
He's not going to be playing Superman 64.
I was going to say that.
He's not. He's going to be playing some real-time strategy game or some sort of a battle chess, or Superman's a thinker. So he'll be using something that stretches his brain. Maybe he'll be playing Jeopardy.
Yeah, but what if he wants to...
He doesn't want to play Superman 64.
Kick back after he fought the bad guys and saved Space World.
I'm going to ignore that. And do you guys have any ideas? What would you say Superman would play?
Well, I already kind of said. I think for real, what he would play is maybe like a Saints Row, one of the good ones, just because he wants to see what it's like to be the bad guy.
Oh, that's not a bad idea. Okay, I can get on board that. He can unwind with something that he would never be able to do. He would never, be shooting people in the face.
His moral compass would not
people.
allow him to do that. So, but in real life, him just unwinding, like, I'm going to be the bad guy and I'm going to go shoot some people and see what it's like.
Yeah, but that might be a slippery slope.
Not for Superman.
I think he would play Barbie Puppy Rescue because that is a pure game where you can ride around Yuppie Town and save irresponsible pet owners' pets and give them back to them endlessly.
He could just do that in real life, though. He doesn't need to do that in a video game. So.
He'd play Superman Returns. That's what he would play. If I can't say Superman 64, Superman Returns is almost.
I still
haven't
played Superman Returns.
So, it's so bad.
The kitty rescue in that game is a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, all 100 of them.
That are not on the map.
Yep.
So, great question, Skeptical Mario. Oh, this next question by Skeptical Mario. This is actually a really good question. What game do you refuse to play, even if it was offered to pay? Somebody offered to pay you to play the game. Are there any games that you would just flat out refuse to play again?
Again?
Or not? It doesn't have to be again, but just you're like, no, I'm not playing this game. Cough, cough, Destiny.
Space Chimps.
I mean, how much are we being paid?
Ooh, yeah. Ooh. Is there a monetary
Minimum
value?
wage. He specifies minimum wage. So what? $7.25 is it? God, I don't know.
Gra. I would not play Gra again, even if you paid me minimum wage.
Prey, the original Prey, and not the full throttle. I can't think of the game. It was a shooting game. I hated it. Oh, did I hate it? It was a car shooting game.
Carmageddon.
No.
Mario Kart.
No, but definitely Space Chimps with the jelly beans. Got so mad at that game. Maybe Squishy. I definitely wouldn't play again.
I wouldn't play.
I guess I should specify. I would play Gra's campaign again. I would not boost the multiplayer again. I would play legit multiplayer matches. I would play the campaign. I would not boost multiplayer again if you paid me.
Full Auto. That's the game I was thinking of. You ever play Full Auto?
No.
Think of like a Carmageddon game, but a game where you're, or even like the zombie driving game where you have machine guns and stuff like that on top of your car, but it's in a race. The AI is so cheap and rubber banded. Never again. Hate that game. Hate that game so much.
I don't think I would play Forma 8 again from last week.
I want to put Crackdown on my list, but I'm not sure.
No.
Like if you paid me, minimum wage isn't very much.
No, minimum wage is not enough of a motivator for me.
Yeah.
It's very.
If I didn't like the game, I don't think minimum wage. Well, maybe, I don't know. It's tough to say, man. I mean,
we boost garbage for stupid achievement points
all the time.
It's true.
But I mean, at the same time, like, they're kind of rewarding where minimum wage is like.
Well, you mean you have the camaraderie too, because you're torturing yourself with other people. It's not just you typically torturing yourself.
Oh man!
Except for Gra. Typically, yeah.
You share the pain and the memories together for what you experienced.
What if it was you couldn't do it with somebody else?
It's fun in its own way.
Like if it was just you had to do it on your own, whatever it was. So you couldn't.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
Yeah,
no.
I might play Crackdown for a little while, but I would quickly end that.
What an interesting question. I'm sure there are a few games I'm not even remembering that I would just never. You know what? I'm going through are they CSI games or Law and Order, or what the hell games am I going through? CSI? I think it's
CSI because that's Telltale.
CSI, the stupid Telltale.
They're so bad. I would never. No. Once I'm done getting all the achievement points, I would never go back.
Can you imagine playing those games without a guide?
No, I would never do it.
Awful.
And here's the thing: like the guide I'm using, the one on TA, it seems to be written in a hurry, so like I kind of miss things occasionally, and I'm like, oh god, I have to go back to these 2 other crime scenes, and I have to. It's the worst. God, I cannot wait to be done with these stupid games.
I was given those games for free. I haven't played them yet, but they've been sitting on my shelf for quite some time.
God, they're bad.
They're pretty bad.
So bad.
I know one's got Morpheus on the cover, and whenever I find it, I'm like, I should play that. It's got Morpheus on the cover.
His role is very, very, very minor in that game, so unfortunately, and he doesn't wear the cool sunglasses.
No. He doesn't offer you any pills either. No. Believe me, I would take the pills.
It's funny because I actually just watched all of The Matrix from start to finish. Not the series, but like the first one, The Matrix, for the first time, like 3 weeks ago.
What did you think?
When I went to California on the plane. It was pretty good.
The first
it held up all right.
The
first one's amazing.
It held up all right. Yeah. I mean, it's because it wasn't exactly what I was expecting. Like, I mean, it was kind of more like casual moviegoer. You know, it had some like casual moviegoer appeal. but it was good. It was a good movie.
It had some good sci-fi concepts, but they kept it simple enough to get the mass populace to want to watch it.
Because I guess what happened was I watched Ghost in the Shell that was super good and like super kind of like more kind of heavy sci-fi, and then I watched The Matrix.
Did you watch the anime, or did you watch the actual one with Scarlett Johansson?
The one with Scarlett Johansson. Yeah. I really liked that movie. It was a good. I
liked it too.
Yeah.
I thought it.
I mean, I don't know how it compares to the. It was a book.
It was a book, and then there was an anime back in the 80s. A lot of people that watched like the original anime said that the movie didn't come close enough. And when I saw the movie, I said, "This is too close to the original anime. People aren't going to come see it." And that's kind of flopped in the theaters because of that.
Mm-hmm. So, as a standalone with no background, I enjoyed it quite a lot. So, it was good.
Man, I love the original Matrix. By the way, interesting fact that ties back into the conversation we were having earlier. As far as I know, still to this day, The Matrix in 1999 was the only movie to ever beat out a Star Wars film for best visual effects. It beat out Phantom Menace in 1999. Neither here nor there. But
it's old, but it holds up.
I think it holds up better than the Phantom Menace.
Like the effects.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
for sure. Are way better.
I mean, like, there's a few effects that are kind of goofy and stuff, but like generally, it's pretty well done. Yeah.
It's great.
Like, the effects, the fact that a 17 or 18-year-old movie holds up now, especially like from effects of that era, are pretty bad.
It's crazy that movie's that old already.
It's nice.
It's weird. 2 and 3 are, you may or may not enjoy them. Take it or leave it, but 1 is a classic. Yeah. It's a certified classic. There's no doubt about that.
Totally agree.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So thanks, Mario. We'll answer your last question now real quick. What achievement names just really bug you? Bad puns, forced pop culture references. This last one that he mentions, this was what we kind of encountered with Left 4 Dead. All caps. Congratulations, you beat this guy. Like, God, I hated the all caps achievements. It bothered me so much.
See, those don't bother. I hate the forced pop culture references.
Yeah.
I don't mind clever pop culture references, but when it's overdone, it's stupid.
Yeah, I don't. None of them really bother me. I wish I could say if some of them really bother me. I think some of the ones that bother me was where there's grammatical errors in them.
I love those.
I mean, they bug me, but in a different way. It was the laziness of them not to make them right.
It tells you something about that game. Like when you see a game, you're like, this looks terrible. Then the achievement list scans, and you're like, oh,
well, it was one of those hunting games that had
this is going to be good.
It still had like the coding in the achievement names. Like they didn't remove brackets or anything like that. It was fantastic, but it was also terrible.
One of Big Ben's hunting games is having killed a dog. That was the description of one of those. Bad Master is the achievement. It's one of my favorite achievements ever.
Like, especially early on, how many like achievements that were actually put into the game do you think were just done by interns that were there for the week or whatever? Like, it's so funny to me, like, to think, like, if there are grammatical errors, nobody looked at that. Somebody just came up with it.
Well, some of it's bad translation. Like, in the case of those hunting games, bad translation. Yeah. But I think it's just, there are studios that really don't care about achievements and don't think they matter. So they just slap something together because they have to, and whatever. Who cares if it's a typo? We're just putting them in because we have to.
I'm not going to even say what achievement names really bug me. I'm going to say achievements that bug me. The lazy ones. The lazy achievements bug me. Anything from Hamster. Those bug me.
Oh, like copy pasting achievements?
Yes. Oh,
yeah.
terrible.
Yeah. It's especially because those games are I don't want to say so different, but those games are different games. They're different genres and stuff. I don't know.
And they're not all bad games.
No.
That's the other thing, too.
I haven't hit a good one yet, but I believe you. I trust you.
I mean, I've enjoyed most of the not fighting games.
Yeah, Overtop is not bad. And that one actually has a different list where it's not like get this certain score.
Yeah.
Or do this certain mode.
Yeah, I think that's the only one that has a different list. But I mean, it doesn't really have a score either.
No, there's no score once. It just says level.
It's different.
Get to a certain level.
Yeah.
So do you think just kind of on this topic, do you think like the rare replay achievements are lazy? Because they all have this start the game achievement, but generally after that, it's pretty game specific.
No, I think those are pretty good, especially considering you're putting achievements in emulated games.
Yeah, I think they're fine.
Yeah, I think they're fine.
Okay.
I mean, yeah.
And there's 400 whatever in them too.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
Yeah.
to have that much creativity after number 100, I applaud them.
I mean, I think the push start thing is kind of stupid, but other than that, they're pretty much all fine. Killer Instinct is lazy.
Yes, Killer Instinct is lazy. Yeah.
Super lazy. I mean, it's like, yeah, you've got 500 achievements, but like, come on. There's like, in that game, there's like 30 different achievements.
Yeah, and I was just, what's the other? Master Chief Collection actually isn't. It is and is not lazy at the same time because it's literally just a collection of previous achievements. So mostly,
which is fine. I mean, I think that's fine on remakes if you just use the same list.
Yeah,
I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, there you go. There you go, Mario. Thanks for the great questions. Lots of interesting topics there. Philip Wendell asks, do you compartmentalize memories around games you were playing at the time? For example, Mad Max reminds him of Christmas because he played it at Christmas time.
That's a really good question and not an easy one at all.
Yes.
I actually do have something like that. In 2007, 2006, I think it was 2007, if I remember correctly, I got the Rock Band bundle for Christmas. And I guessed it before I got it. So I got to open it early for Christmas that year. And I was so excited to get the game. And I was, So that does kind of, not like Rock Band reminds me of Christmas, but Rock Band 1 reminds me of Christmas. So I can understand that.
But, I mean, yeah, this is totally true for me. I can't think of specific examples, but like if I go back and play games, sometimes that kind of like triggers the memory. I can't like think of it. I'm just like, oh, I see that. I don't just see the game and remember this time or place or whatever. But if I'm playing it and I'm like, oh yeah, I was playing this, I played this at Thanksgiving or whatever, I'll remember it sometimes doing that. It happens more for music for me.
Music gets me every time.
The same thing. Yeah.
I was just trying to think of one. I actually have one, and it goes way back. Probably, we're talking back into the 80s. The original Legend of Zelda, the very, very first one. I remember going over to my friend's Eric's house because he had a Nintendo. I did not have an NES at the time, and he had Zelda. And we sat there and played it for like 2 weeks straight, like 2 or 3 hours every day after school. And I remember it very fondly, and just funny now because when we beat the game, we sat and argued over who actually beat it because we were taking turns. And we got in a huge argument actually who beat the game. And I remember that every time I play that game now, because I tried to do speedruns in Zelda now, see how fast I can play through it without cheats, not emulator and all that stuff. And that's the one thing I remember. Whenever I play that game, I go, oh, God, I remember when he used to get so mad at me saying he claimed he beat it and I claimed I beat it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was 30 years ago.
Isn't that crazy? It's crazy how these sort of things can come back to you, That's wild. I can't think of, 64 games generally, Nintendo 64 games, even if I replay them on like Rare Replay or something, generally remind me of summertime because when I first got my 64, it was in the summer. And of course, from the time that I was 11 until 14 or 15, every summer I just had nothing to do but play Nintendo 64. So when I hear the music from Banjo-Kazooie or that sort of stuff, it just reminds me of those summers off that I would have with my friends, and we'd play GoldenEye all day or Perfect Dark all day. And so that I can get that sort of sense from those sort of things as well. It's weird that Mad Max reminds him of Christmas, though, because that is like Mad Max is not something you would think of would be associated with Christmas.
I think Lethal Weapon around Christmas.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that would work. Yeah. All right, so okay, let's move on here. Last feedback of the week, guys. Kronos asks, and we talked a little bit about this earlier, referencing the Monopoly shut down, but he says another EA server shut down, and that's what today sparked some outrage. When we buy a game, what are we buying? A durable product, a service, a consumable experience. Is there a disconnect between what we think we're buying and what the developer publisher is selling? If so, who is at fault for that misunderstanding? Now, Randy and I were talking, and Mango, you were there earlier before the show. We've had some conversations about this on the show before. So let's get a fresh perspective. What do you think?
And we kind of touched on this with the Wii marketplace shutdown. It's kind of, what are you buying? Especially with digital, is what are you buying when you buy this digital product?
Are you buying code, or are you just buying a license? I mean, what is actually yours?
Yeah, it's really hard to say, and especially with something like that where, I'm sure somewhere buried in the 8,000 pages of agreements that you agree to when you sign up for the store, they probably say we can revoke your access to this whenever you want, but it's really not clear.
No, it's not clear at all.
For someone that doesn't think about it as, in 10 years, you're probably not going to be able to access this anymore.
No, and a lot of those EA games, they actually even have, nobody reads it, but almost every single one of them has a thing like, we reserve the right to shut down any service on this game as we see fit, yada, yada. I
don't even mean shutting down service at this point. I mean just being able to access what you paid for.
Sure.
Like just kind of like at that other level is like, yeah, now, come March or whatever it was, you can no longer access anything that you paid for on Wii. And it wasn't really made clear that,
Well, I guess that doesn't even bug me as much as the online only games, which are gone. Recently the Marvel game that was just shut down. We can't even play it anymore. Yep. And I actually ended up enjoying the game.
And the thing with that too is, because I'm sure I've said before that I think preservation is important of games because stuff like that happening, and it's really hard. Like copyright laws make it really, really hard for abandoned games to be preserved, especially online only games where it's not like you can find a disc and get it working. It's gone. But it is also really cool that some games that had, this is an online only game, but online only modes, some games people captured network transactions, but that's not the right word, network data going to and from the server and have rebuilt the server.
Yeah, I've heard about that happening.
So you can, I think there was Twisted Metal Black has and now completely emulated unofficial server.
Yeah, that is right. I do remember.
You have to change some settings on your PS2, but you can play it with an official copy of the game. You just change your network settings to hit that server instead of the PlayStation servers, and you can play it, and that's amazing. And it's so cool when stuff like that happens, but we know that that's a very, very uncommon
to answer his question though. What are we buying? Is it a durable product, a service, or a consumable experience? I guess it depends on the game. Some of them they're a durable product.
I think that has changed over time.
Yeah, and it has changed. A service, a lot of the games we do play are a service. They really are. Yeah. A consumable experience.
Games as a service.
Yeah, games as a service, that's pretty commonplace now. A consumable experience? Yeah, a few of the games are. That's all they are. Look at all the mobile games. They're a consumable experience. That's what they are.
And when they're gone, they're pretty much going to be gone.
Isn't the problem now that people's expectations are for them all to be all of them? Like everybody expects every game. I think it is.
I don't expect my games to be all those things.
Okay. So let's say, for example, Mango, you mentioned the Marvel game, right?
Yeah.
The Marvel game was an online Diablo-based adventure game that you played only online with other people.
Correct.
Now, it was free to play, but of course, microtransaction-based. What do you expect out of that transaction?
Well, what the game became and what it was originally, I think, were two different things. I think originally I viewed it as a game as a service. I mean, I was playing it until I got to the point where I would have to spend money to advance because it kind of had paywalls. What it became was more of a consumable experience, maybe. Just because, well, I mean, because it had a time limit, like, oh, we got to get this done now, without spending any money. That one was kind of a weird one. I mean, originally, I would definitely say it was something where it was more of a game as a service, for sure, at the start.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't know. I don't think any games are purely, it's like the waters have been muddied. It's not one thing is X, Y, and Z. It's one thing is 30.
Because so many games now are trying to be all those things, but they're not really succeeding at it.
If you asked me 20 years ago what the games are, they're a durable product. Everything I buy is a durable product.
Durable product.
But aren't we?
Yeah.
But
even 10 years ago.
Well, no, I disagree.
No,
World of
10 years
Warcraft
isn't
came
that long
out.
ago anymore.
World of Warcraft came out way longer than 10 years ago, and that is
with a few
still
exceptions.
going. So that's what I'm saying. Like I think,
But when games when all games were a durable product or game as a service, you knew there was no line. It's like you play World of Warcraft, you know that is not a durable product. It has a subscription. You pay for it every month. It's not durable. You know that. You have to pay for it to play it.
But you don't now. Now. So where does it land now?
Okay, but I'm saying 10 years ago, you knew, just like RuneScape. When I played RuneScape, I knew that at any time they could just shut it down, and all of my character, my friends list, my people I play with, my progress, all gone.
But is it?
And I knew that. And I knew that when I paid every month that was not a durable product. That is an experience or a game as a service, however you want to turn that.
That's like the new FIFA game. Like what they're talking about doing with FIFA. Game as a service.
Yeah.
Is it okay that games are different now than they were 10 years ago? Yes, of course.
But I knew if I bought a game for my, I guess, Xbox 360. No, I was going to say GameCube. But 10 years.
Hey, look at Fantasy Star Online.
We'll make a little stretch. We'll say GameCube. 99.9% of the time, I am buying a durable product because I can play it the day I buy it, or I can play it 20 years from now. And as long as my GameCube still turns on, I don't scratch that disc up. It's still going to work. It's still going to work exactly how it did when I bought it that day. Now, Fantasy Star Online, it's kind of the same thing as RuneScape or World of Warcraft. You know that it says, even in the title, online, it's like you should know that they can turn that off.
I don't know. I think to not expect
requiring a connect.
To not expect games to change is to be naive.
Oh, and I know games have changed, but I'm just saying, like, things have changed a lot in a short period of time, and the answer has gotten
really muddy, and
especially in like the last 2 or 3 years.
Look at PUBG. Right, let's look at that. You can buy now a physical copy of the game preview version of a game. Like, what does that even mean?
That's online only.
Like, that blows my mind. I don't know.
But does it have System Link? That's
that would be actually that would be a really
that
awesome.
is a good question.
That would be super cool.
I mean, well, okay, I'm sure it doesn't because it's 100 people.
Right? Yeah, it's too many.
I'll take that back. Yeah, there's no way.
But it would be kind of cool to do a system
farm
link.
that you'd have with all of that.
Well, but the thing is, though, is if it had System Link, it would be. I could put it in a durable product because like 90% of that game is still playable.
No. What do you mean 90% of the game? The game is based on 100 players.
90% of the content. What do you 90% of the content in that game. So if you got 100 players together, you could theoretically have the same experience 20 years from now when the servers are long shut down that you had
if the game was fundamentally
20
different than what
ago.
it is now, as in
No, I'm saying if the game in its current state that is printed on that disc, if it had System Link, 20 years from now...
Okay, but that is a fundamental shift in what the game is. Because the game is online only. The game is right? Unless I'm misunderstanding.
It's online only.
Yeah, so that is, you're actually changing the nature of the game when you say that.
Okay.
So no, and that's the thing, and that's what I'm trying to say is like, yeah, playing, whatever, Super Mario World is fundamentally different than playing PUBG, of course, but we couldn't play PUBG on Super Nintendo. We couldn't. The shift in gaming isn't all bad. You get experiences out of this sort of stuff that you could never have had before. So it's.
I don't know if there's really a disconnect either. Like he's asking the question if there's a disconnect between maybe that's a generational thing.
I think it is. I think it's expectational. Yeah.
Because my kids view their games as, unless they see my collection, they view all their games as a service. Like, oh yeah, because they play Overwatch all the time. Overwatch is online only.
As kind of more disposable.
Yeah, totally.
Minecraft, that sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
See, I think, I don't know. I hate viewing games like that. And I think that's why I'm so unhappy with the way games are now. I like, a Rocket League that, you have updates, you have this stuff, but you can still play that game. Yeah, of course the online is a huge component, but you play it off the disc, it's still Rocket League.
Well, no, and I kind of share your view, but I guess on modern games, I guess I view it as, well, this is the way things are going to be. I don't like it. I don't like it at
that's
all.
Just why
I just know that's where it is.
That's just why I dropped AAA, because that's what they are. They're trying to be too many things. Mm-hmm. They're trying to be too many things, and it's not working for me. Like, because I don't know. I feel like you need to pick one or the other. You don't get to be both. You can be a game as a service, and you can drain your whales as much as you want in your game as a service. If your game's free, and then you can have your $60 game that is a game.
But that's
$60.
That's so restrictive. Right. Like that's just not the way that the industry works at this point.
Oh, I know, because people will pay $60 and drain their wallets.
And there are some people that'll pay $2, and there are some people that'll pay $15, and it's too restrictive. I don't know.
The marketplace is so different now than it was even just a few short years ago.
Exactly.
It really is different.
Yeah.
Games are it's a gradient. Like you're literally putting free to play games at 0 and $60 games at 100 and saying everything else exists on that spectrum. It's not the case. Free to play is like 25 and $60 games is like 75%, and there are extremes on both ends, and there's a whole bunch of stuff in the middle, and it's just a bunch of gray areas. It was, I guess, easier back in the day when you paid $50 and you got a disc or a cartridge. Those days are so far gone. Like, why do we? Yeah, I don't know. Why do we expect those things?
I'm stuck in those
I know
days.
You are.
I don't know.
This reeks of get off my lawnism.
Get off my lawn.
I don't know.
I'm okay with things being different now. I have no problem with that.
There are so many games that are doing that service model that I just don't enjoy. Like there is something that going to games as a service, like there's something that was lost between durable product, game as a service. Of course there are other things that are gained, particularly in multiplayer gaming, but I don't know, something's missing and I don't know what it is, but it's why I enjoy like one game a year that comes out, because that comes out in that year. This year at 2.
Well, it makes you feel any better, Randy. My kids do like playing the old games from time to time. They make sure I help them look it up with the 4 or 5 cables, because they don't know how to do that.
Yeah, back in my day,
I had to put a disc in the system. How did that work?
Those devil pitchfork things you had to like screw into the old cable things. Those are fun.
Hey kids, let me show you how to blow on a cartridge. Yeah.
I haven't brought any of the real old systems out from the play, like a Fairchild Channel F. They'd be really confused by that.
Yeah, I think the only system I have that has those, I think, is the Atari 2600, and I've got a converter for it, so I never actually had to screw those to a TV unfortunately.
Yeah, I have a modded one too.
If what you think of as the pinnacle of gaming requires you to use some sort of converter.
I'm not saying that that's the pinnacle of gaming.
I know.
Atari 2600 is.
No.
I'm teasing you. I'm kidding. But I do think there is, to go back to the question, I think that there, for the, I don't even want to say older because I don't consider myself, but like for the more seasoned gamers, I think expectations are a big part of the problem.
Yeah.
So I guess what is our expectation? When you buy a AAA game for $60,
I consider it a durable product.
What is your expectation?
It's a durable product. That's how I view it, and that's my old school mentality.
Me too.
It depends on the game. It totally depends on the game.
That's true, because in general, my view may change, but like 90% of the time, I expect it to be generally a durable product, unless I know what I'm getting into.
Well, if I go and buy, let's say I decide to go buy a Switch, and I buy Mario, I consider that game a durable product.
Sure. I don't have a problem with that. But if I bought a Switch, and I bought Rocket League on the Switch, it's just a different type of game.
Yeah, totally different.
Like, totally different type of game. And I'm okay with that.
How do you think those games should disclose that?
That's a good question. Now, that's an interesting question.
Because I think they should.
How, though? I mean...
yeah, how? So in a year, if our servers have no player base, we're just going to turn them off because we just don't have enough people playing.
So let's look at Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare on Xbox 360.
Okay.
There was a tiny little thing in the bottom corner of that case that said hard drive required and something along the lines of internet connection or Xbox Live required. I don't remember which. And I saw so many copies of those show up at thrift stores right after it came out because people bought it and then returned it because they couldn't play it.
Hard drive.
Because it was so tiny in the bottom corner that you would just thought it was a normal game, especially because it's called Plants vs. Zombies, which is, to my understanding, the original was a tower defense game that you play by yourself.
Yeah, it was awesome. The original was really fun.
So I don't think that that's very good disclosure. I mean, yeah, sure, it's on there, but it's not very not very clear.
I mean, would you want the same disclosure from Halo 3?
No.
Okay, well then
because
why?
Halo 3 has a whole component of the game that you can, like, at least half of the game, half of the experience that you can do offline or by yourself.
What about Titanfall?
There you go.
That was another one that was online only, and there was no disclosure on the front of that one.
Yeah, it probably.
What about World of
should
Warcraft?
make mention of it.
What about plenty of games, and that's the thing. And I agree. I don't disagree with you, Randy. I think I do think that
and I'm saying too is obviously this is very idealistic.
Yes.
This is very idealistic. This is assuming the companies selling these products are responsible, which probably not. And
I don't think. Yeah, I don't know. I
mean, I'm talking EA. I'm mostly EA.
I do think
fingers pointing at EA.
I do think that the biggest issue here, and Kronos mentions this in his question. He asks if there's a disconnect between what we think we're buying and what the developer publisher is selling.
Totally.
I think that's the biggest issue here.
And I guess that's the biggest thing with the disclosure is that should be clarified. Like there's with something like World of Warcraft where you pay a subscription fee specifically for that game, I think that really solidifies that this is not a durable product. This is a service that you pay for monthly. I mean, I know that model is kind of gone now with microtransactions, but when you bought World of Warcraft, it told you it comes with 1 month and then you have to pay for it.
But it was a $60 game. You had to pay.
I don't think so.
Yeah, they were.
I got it for my birthday.
Yeah, they were $60.
Yeah. They were
originally it was $60.
Originally it was $60.
Yeah, and then you had to pay.
Because when I bought it, it was $20, and it came with a month that was worth $20. So
it may have came with a month. I'm not sure, but
I know the expansions you had to buy, but the expansions were like it's kind of different.
I almost feel that the way games have become has gotten so muddy that
Yeah.
they're not really sure how to make them disclosures for it either. It's changed so much. And I think they just don't even
continues to change.
And the disclosure hasn't changed. Nothing's changed on that.
Yeah. And I don't know, I guess in terms of, if we look at a game like Monopoly Streets, I mean, that's an old game.
It's really old.
That's been around for a long time, and again, most of it is still playable. The majority of that game is still going to be playable, and I think shutting down the servers, while it's unfortunate, is kind of to be expected.
Yeah, Monopoly Streets came out in 2010, October 26, 2010.
Yeah, so that's over 7 years the servers were up, and I think that's fair. I mean, there's nothing on the box saying this. We might close the servers in 7 years, but
I actually even forgot that game had online when I saw somebody posted that the servers are going offline for those achievements. That had online. I had to go and look. Did I even play that? Oh wait, yeah, I did back in 2011.
Back then.
That's always funny to go back and like, oh yeah, I did play that game.
And I mean, while they do disclose it, I think it just kind of thinking about it is, we can't afford to keep these on forever. That kind of makes sense. They've run their course, but when you get into, and then there's companies like 2K that shut their servers down every 18 months, but they say right on the case or in the book or they do specify that these servers will be open for this period of time, and that's it. And they say that, and I can't really fault them for, I think that's a very short window of time, but they tell you before you buy the game. They disclose it, and they have it planned, and they give you 18 months notice. And while I disagree with that short window of time, I can't really fault them because that when you buy the game, or it's fairly easy for you to find that out. And I mean, I haven't played a current sports game ever, but I assume you can probably still play it offline after the servers close. So, it's still something there. It's still largely a durable product. While it loses part of its functionality, it's still mostly intact. It's tough.
It's really tough.
Yeah, there's no easy answer.
It's tough to know because, like I said, my expectation is ideally what I would want is you can do whatever you want. You just have to be clear about what you're doing and what is being sold. But yeah, like you said, it's so muddy now that it's very hard to know. Or
the industry is big. There are lots of games. What works for one won't work for another. And, it's tough. It's tough to classify things in simplistic ways now. Some games, like Marvel, like World of Warcraft, I keep bringing World of Warcraft up, which is weird because it's such an old game, but it kind of set the tone.
Yeah.
I mean, there weren't really. I mean, there were only a few big MMORPGs kind of back then that were like that. I mean, they were the first games as a service, way, way, way back. Like, I mean, RuneScape must have started being paid in 2005, 2006, maybe.
So it's it's
way, way back.
The industry is diverse, and
it's way more diverse than it used to be. Way more.
And so you're not going to get the same thing out of Marvel Heroes that you're going to get out of, pick whatever game. It's just things are different now. So I don't know.
I guess the other thing too is delivery. Is when it's on a disc, I have more expectation of it being durable, just in general. I mean, obviously, if I buy Rocket League, I know it's different.
Think of
but
what was the 360 game that came out with the wall running? It was supposed to be super awesome. The first person shooter. No, I wasn't thinking of Shadowrun. Oh God,
Mirror's Edge.
No. It was a multiplayer only game. That's what I'm trying to think of. And it flopped super hard. Brink, thank you.
Okay,
That's what I was thinking of.
Brink.
Brink had single player too, though.
It did kind of, but it's like
sort of.
in the same way that Titanfall has single player, right? It's like quote unquote.
No, it was like the same way that Left 4 Dead has single player, where the AI is so bad you can't function.
Yeah. So it's like this is. I mean, it's kind of a trend in the industry, but it isn't super new. This is not a new situation that we find ourselves in. If you have a Brink disc right now, how good is that going to do you? And that came out, what, 2010, 2011? I can't, I have no idea.
Probably earlier than that.
Even maybe.
Old.
Yeah. So
I want to say like 2008.
So this is nothing new that we're facing here. I do think it is.
Brink was 2011.
Wow. Okay.
Really? 2011? Wow.
I do think this is an expectations versus reality situation, and I think that people just need to be aware that games are different now. That's all.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
We don't like it.
And everyone knows. Everyone knows that.
Myself and Randy
everyone knows
don't like it. But it is what it is.
I don't like.
Old man shakes cane at cloud.
That's why.
Rotten kids.
No, to be fair, I mean, I'm not saying you guys don't have a point. It frustrates me too sometimes. Like, I'm upset about the Marvel stuff. But on the other hand,
the thing that upsets me most is if I play a game now that I really love, not necessarily just a multiplayer game, but a game as a service game, or even, maybe some arbitrarily online only game like SimCity that came out however long ago or whatever. I don't know what the status of that is, but that's just the only example that I can think of at this second. And they can just turn that off whenever, and it's gone. And I think that's pretty lame.
I agree.
Because, I can play some of my favorite games of all time are as old as I am, or older than I am. I can still play them exactly the same now. I don't know. I think that's going to be lost. And people like not everyone, but people like old games.
Yeah.
People like to play their old favorites. So I
appreciate the question.
We'll see.
It's a good question, and it gets us thinking about what are we really doing with what we have. I mean, we've talked about it before. I mean, off the podcast, but I know you guys have talked about it a little bit.
We kind of talked about it a different way this time, though. Like I think the expectations. I think that's a real key to this. So this is kind of what we expect.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I don't expect anything to work anymore. I hope it does. like Cuphead,
like your hips, or anything like that.
Like Cuphead. When they say, "Oh yeah, you can play offline," you check the box to play games offline. Then you get in the airplane for 4 hours. It doesn't work.
All right.
Back in my day,
okay,
I could buy a CD, put it in my disk drive.
All right.
My 2-inch thick laptop.
You know what?
So I can play Cuphead.
That is the perfect way to segue to the end of the show here, guys.
Yes.
Yeah. So thanks for all the feedback. You know what? Freem is going to come up here now, talk about some stuff and some things. But before we get there, Mango, thanks so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure to have you.
Well, thank you very much, guys. I really enjoyed it.
And let people know if you want to, where they can find you, what's going on with you. You obviously don't have to if you don't want to. But
you can find me on True Achievements, Mighty Mango. You can find me on Xbox Live, Mighty Mango. You can find me on Twitter at Mighty Mango.
Nice.
I got it before the fruit drink that has Mighty Mango got it. So any one of those places, if you have any questions for me, comments, concerns, if I was terrible, you can feel free to tell me that I was terrible. If I'm not terrible, you don't need to tell me that, but you can if you want. But yeah, thanks again for having me, guys. It was fun.
What about your butler? Can we find him?
Oh yes,
yeah, at Mango's Butler.
He doesn't even have his own name on Twitter. That is terrible.
No, at Cadbury was already taken. So some Eastern company that makes some egg things.
Randy, what about you? How can people get a hold of you?
You can find me on True Achievements with my gamertag Crandy, or on Twitter at Randy2727.
And if they want to get a hold of me, they can find me on True Achievements or Xbox at Proulx. Check the show notes for the spelling, because I just don't really want to spell it out right now.
Proulx.
Proulx.
All right, guys. So good conversation. Thanks for everybody for contributing, and we'll pass it along to Freem for the rest of the show.
All right, I told you I'd be back to close out the show. I'm sure we still have some review Zed, what the L with the RTDL still to go, but I've got to give you my contest roundup, and I told you there'd be some zombie news. Yeah, we got them. So let's start with the zombie news, right? Many of you are familiar with the concept of an escape room, right? I've never actually done one myself. I want to. My wife, not a fan of that type of experience. I'm sure it would be amazing and fun. I like creative puzzle solving. Hopefully, you can get a good one. But the idea, right, you're trapped in a room, you got to solve puzzles to get out, and it's a relatively contained experience. 1, 2, maybe 3 rooms, kind of interconnected and stuff. Nothing obscene. Well, this takes that idea and branches it out a little bit more. And when I say a little bit more, I mean 250,000 square feet. This actually is right up Randy's alley, too. This is, now, unfortunately, it is only in the UK right now, but it's through zevents.co.uk. So Zed Events is they book these experiences, these zombie-related experiences, and you can watch a video of, right, and so they have these actors, these like well-armed actors with assault rifles, and they create this like narrative that you experience with them. So this specific one, this 250,000 square foot abandoned shopping mall, right? Randy loves abandoned shopping malls. This one just happens to be filled with zombies. And so you get guns, you get a loose narrative that connects all these. Like there's armories and like pharma buildings. It's run by Gentesis is the umbrella corporation in this instance, and they're just working on pioneering some really revolutionary anti-aging technology. What's wrong with that? Nothing can ever go wrong with something like that. Anyway, it's you can watch a video. It's fantastic. The production quality is very well done. A lot of people, awesome reviews and stuff. I don't know how long it goes. You got to be 16 or older, and they can kick you out if you're drunk or stoned off your gourd. They do have a little thing in there, and I'm sure there's waivers all over the place. But it just sounds like so much fun. I wish I was in the UK to give this thing a try right now. So they have a thing here that says average distance is about 4 kilometers. That's a lot of walking around. Like, this seems like a long experience. Anyway, you guys should watch the video, zevents.co.uk. And I'm sure you can type in Zed Events on YouTube and find it as well. So thanks to Chuggy Bags for sending this out. I appreciate this. This was super interesting. You'll have to let me know if you go. Presumably you are a UKer who might attend an event like this. If anybody does, I'd love to hear about it because it sounds super fun. Absolutely. So that's it for that part of the regular show. We have just a touch of contest stuff to talk about because there's not. I mean, I did most of the things last week. I still have to pay everybody out, but I announced all the winners. But you guys have codes coming your way, and of course, Rippin, our patron winner, gets a game, and so we'll let you know what he ends up picking up with that. But I do want to touch on the 12 Days of Christmas over at trueachievements.com. If you guys haven't started this at all, man, it has been just fabulous. And the forums have been overwhelmingly positive with this. So if and Rich, I've talked to him in the background, and he is just giddy with excitement on all the wonderful feedback he's been getting. Because him and Jack, they did some amazing work on the UI, the interface and stuff, and the rest of the community events team put together a really great event that people are really liking. It's like I said, overwhelmingly positive. So you keep chiming in like that and saying how much you like these things. Guess what? You're going to get more of them. So you got to let us know what you like, what you don't like. like, and especially what you like. Positivity goes a long, long way. But the actual event itself, 12th Days of Christmas, started on December 1st, but you have the entire month to complete it. So by the time this comes out, we got a Christmas vacation. Hopefully you got a little bit of time here to finish out the 12 days. They shouldn't take you 12 days, but there is a collection of achievements that you have to unlock in order. For instance, day 1, you have to get a game completion, but it can just be one achievement if you happen to be just sitting there on something that's close to being done. Day 2 is versus achievements, right? That's not too hard. You just find a game that has a versus flag on it. I know a lot of people are frustrated about the co-op. Well, guess what? I just played Child of Light for my co-op. I played that by myself. It just so happens you can plug in a second controller to control the little Firefly guy. But you don't need to. So many games like that are flagged that have co-op as optional. Those count. Those totally count. So I personally am on challenge 10 right now. I have to get 10 Gamerscore achievements. I'm going to be doing some Walking Dead story mode action for that. Those have 10 Gamerscores lined up and a little recore. I got some random to-do lists to touch on with that. So I'm looking forward to it. It'll be fun. If you haven't yet, and I'm not sure by the time this comes out, if Game of the Year voting is still open on TA, I think it's closed by now, but you should see the results of that here in the near future. So congrats to all those games that got your votes. And the GTASC 2018. Guys, keep your eyes out on trueachievements.com for signups for that. 2-man teams. So, I'm a free agent. If anyone's really interested in my lack of gamer score, you're more than welcome to party up with me. I'm not sure how competitive I'm going to be, though, but we'll see. Finally, just a couple last things for the Z2Z community. Random to-do lists. We're ending the random to-do list for this little 4-month action here. Ends on December 31st, so get your final scores in for that. We'll talk about the winners for the small trimester and start up a brand new trimester on January 1st. The rules really aren't changing. We're still maintaining the 1,000 point minimum. Tarragon is looking to implement a higher minimum score, right? Make it a little bit more challenging. But if your list fails to produce a set of 25 achievements that work, then you're just going to get a lower one, and your overall possible points will be lower. So, sign up. You can sign up at any time. Can be any time within the month, and you get a list. And if you don't unlock anything, you get kicked out of the tournament for that month. But go ahead and sign up again the next month. Maybe it's just a bad month for work or whatever. Internet went down for an entire month. Who knows? But we're always welcoming people in. Every achievement you unlock gives you an entry into a raffle, so it's always worth your time to give it a shot. The community challenge is holiday related. It is a right jolly old elf, and any achievement that you unlock in a game that contains elves or elf-like creatures, those will count. So get your entries in for that and enter to win a chance at a little Microsoft gift card there. Finally, we do a gamertag challenge where you need to unlock an achievement in a game that starts with specific letters, and the letters this month are Miserly Pluto 459. So you're looking for a game that starts with M like Mass Effect, or I like iZombie, S like State of Decay. Just simply unlock one achievement in those games, post them in the forums, and those of you not familiar, numbers can be any number. So if there's a 4, you can unlock NBA 2K18, much to the chagrin of Elroy. That would count. That has a digit in it, and it counts as your number 4, right? Even though there's no 4 in the actual number itself. So don't worry about it. The final contest we have going on that is a monthly contest is the Mokas M. Surin's Overly Convoluted Achievement Spectacular. The December is called Complex Superiority, and that's simply unlocking progressively higher and higher gamer score. They don't have to be in order, right? You can unlock a 10, a 15, a 10, and a 20. And you just take that 15 in the middle, you get 10, 15, 20 as it goes. The more in a row that you can do, or the higher you can go, the better your chances of winning. Finally, we are still doing our patron giveaway. So we gave away a full game for the month of November, and we are still at that collection tier, our community people who have graciously donated to the show help support us to do this, to give back to the community, to run all these contests, to give out prizes like we do. Your generosity throughout the half year that we've been doing this so far has been amazing, and it'll let us do stuff like give prizes away to the random to-do list trimesters. It'll let us do prizes for my completions challenge that's ending for 2017. It lets us do bigger prizes for the monthly challenges and things. Like, you help run this community. You are the active participants in the gaming industry or the gaming world, our community. We could not do this without you, so thank you so much. I mentioned my completions challenge for 2017. Yeah, it's ending. We've only got 4 people so far who have completed all 30 games. Those 30 games, so I've looked at my list. I just actually completed 2 new ones. I'm at 23 for the year, but I don't have enough to cover the individual themes. Like, I didn't do a stack this year. I did pieces of stacks, right? I did a 360 version or a 1 version, but I didn't do the double stack. So I don't think I'm going to be able to get that by the end of the year. But no fear, I'm coming out with a 2018 list. Actually, the list has been done since January of last year. I like to do the list so far in advance that I don't plan ahead and try and sit on anything. I haven't even looked at the list since I made it back in January. So I totally forgot what I put on there. It'll be fun and new, and I will post that. Now, I'm off of work starting next week, and so I might actually post this on Friday. We'll see. Just before Christmas, maybe my Christmas gift to you guys, just so I can make sure it's up, because I will start forgetting about internet. And if I'm at home by myself, and I'm not going to punch up, I'll probably be away from Discord for a while, probably be doing other things, because you got to think any alone time I get is going to be with the Xbox. That's just how it works. The final thing I want to mention, our Discord community. We have our Discord boosting groups. They'll probably take a bit of a break here with the holidays. So if you're interested, go to my Discord channel, the official Z2Z Discord, discord.io/Z2Z. Go there and you can find the different channels and see if there's actually people meeting up that night. They should be. Like on Thursday nights, Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare, we are getting dangerously close to finishing the 360 version, so we'll be moving over to the Xbox One version of Garden Warfare. I know Halo boosting is coming close to an end, and that's on Tuesday nights. And then Battleborn is a standing Wednesday night affair. So those are the 3 games that we're actively doing. But I think there is a collection of people who are interested on Wednesday nights and Thursday nights. I've seen some Borderlands talk come up. I've seen some Gears of War. I've seen a lot of random to-do list things. So, for instance, people get together and say, hey, let's pound out this game tonight for this random to-do list achievement. Anybody interested? And we set up some impromptu community sessions. And those are amazing. Our community's great. I've already mentioned it before. They're great people to game with, great people to hang out with, and they're incredibly generous to, goofy people who talk into a microphone for fun. So I couldn't ask for anything more. That's one of the best gifts you guys could give me this holiday season. So I hope you enjoyed the show. I'm sure I will enjoy listening to it. I hope you enjoy what we have coming up here after. And we got, one more podcast before the end of the year. And then we're coming on strong in 2018. So thank you so much for listening, everybody. If you want to reach me, you can find me using Twitter at Freemhole, FREAMWHOLE. It's probably one of the best ways to get me, or you can send me messages over at trueachievements.com. Again, Freemhole, Xbox Live, Freemhole. Yeah, it's kind of a thing. That's my nickname all over the place. So easy to find, easy to get a hold of. And would love to chat with you. Love to game with you. There's always gaming opportunities. As long as we're looking for achievements, I'm down. Right. So there you have it. That'll be it for me. I know we got a little bit left of the show, so let's kick it over to those guys. Thanks for listening.
What the hell?
Hey everybody, and welcome to What the L with the RTDL. I, of course, am Big L.
And I am Elroy.
Hi Elroy, how are you today?
Well, I'm doing well, thanks for asking.
Happy holidays and Merry Christmas to everybody.
Well, yes, Christmas time is upon us. And the top 5 RTDLers for the month have been busy. Now, sure, I could talk to you about how Rocker Dude finally decided to be like his brother from another mother, another Tennessean mother, and get his full combo over 6,000 points and in seemingly record time, 18 days in. Well done, Rocker Dude. It is much better than that second-place Kahuna, who boasted he was going to have his full combo done in 30 minutes. 8 hours ago. But,
breaking news, Elroy. It looks like Akuno just got his full combo.
Wait, what? When?
Yeah, looking at Discord, it appears it happened around 7:32.
Well, I mean, the rules clearly state that the list has to be updated by 7:30 to be included on the What the L list. So I don't know that
He's
he is
one of those British people. He forgot to account for the time change, I think.
Well, that's not our fault. The rules clearly say 7:30, and without
breaking
the rules,
news, Elroy. It appears we don't have rules.
Wait. So we're just making this all up?
Yep.
Okie dokie.
Artichoke.
Speaking of choking, Cowboy Killer 360 and NBA Kirkland remain locked.
Elroy, do you know what NBA
Yes.
Kirkland's wife's name is?
No, I don't.
It's Wanda, but she goes by Miss Kirkland. Sorry to interrupt.
Huh. Yeah, good to know. Oh, they remain locked in the 3 and 4 spot without doing much of anything this past week. Worth mentioning, however, if Cowboy Killer decided to get his full combo, I mean, it is what all the cool kids are doing this month, it would propel him into first place, given his higher max. Urban Spaceman
Thanks, man.
is back to his Urban Spaceman ways of old. Urban Spaceman
Thanks, man.
narrowly leads over RTDL newcomer, who is wild. He has wood.
Boy.
And he answers to Mike. He, of course, is Wildwood Mike. In related news, how does a Urban Spaceman
Thanks, man.
cut his hair? Eclipse it. Get it? He is a spaceman.
Thanks, man.
Anyhow, much like Urban Spaceman
Thanks, man.
did to his hair, so too he did to old Wildwood Mike. And Urban Spaceman
Thanks, man.
moved into 5th place past Wildwood Mike at the last minute, causing what can only be described as a, wait for it, mic drop. Yeah. In any case, 'tis the season, and it's time for Santa Elroy to look at your RTDL list and to check it twice. Decide who has been naughty or nice. This season is all about second chances and forgiveness. The nice folks are those who have seen the error of their ways in November and have now embraced the RTDL gift given to them this month and have increased their output this month the greatest. The naughty list are those who have shunned the RTDL the most based on their stellar performance from last month and get a lump of coal from Santa Elroy for their lackluster performance this month. It's time for RTDL Update, Naughty Ho or Nice Ho Ho edition. Let's see who has been nice this month. In 5th place, it's... Wait a minute. Is it Proulx? He isn't an honorable mention? He actually earned his mention this week? Huh. Well, with a 1,253 point increase this month already, the force is strong with him. That's Star Trek, right?
Oh, I think so. I wonder how many times he's seen that new Star Trek movie already, even though it just came out.
Huh. Yeah, I can't wait to see it. In 4th place, edging out Proulx by a mere 3 points, is Spanky and Sprunkle. If I know one thing about Spanky and Sprunkle, Well, actually, I don't know anything about Spanky and Spronkle. Are they like a team? Is Spanky the leader? Is he a friend of Urban Spaceman?
Oh, no, just thinking, thanks, man.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was gender exclusive. Is she a friend of Urban Spaceman?
Thanks, woman?
Wait, this is still too gender exclusive. Is he, she, they friends of Urban Space Person?
Thanks, person?
Anyhow, Spankle and Spronkle have tore it up this month and are on the nice list with a 1,256-point increase. Cowboy Killer 360 appears third on the nice list with his point increase of 1,735 points. If only he had tacked on an additional 65 points, Cowboy, who deals in perfect rotations, could have had a 5-revolution increase, but instead is stuck at a sloppy 4.81. And that, dear friends, is a sentence nobody will understand. Number 2, he has loads of wild and tons of wood. Wildwood Mike is second on the nice list with 2,326 points. He is not too far back from the top of the list, so one could say he is, in the hunt. Or you could just shorten it to Mike Hunt. Yeah. In first place, Rocker Dude easily tops the nice list with his increase of 5,496 points and full combo in the month of December. Santa will likely bring him something extra nice this year, like maybe some new games, given he barely is over the pool limit, and 6 of his Chivos on his list came from a single game. But in the meantime, the dude abides. Time for the naughty list. And number 5, it is no other than Big L, with his drop-off of 1,387 points this month. What? L? Have you been naughty?
Insert Big L humor here.
Number 4 in the naughty list is Philip Wendell, with a drop of 1,394 points. No word on why Philip has been naughty this month, but perhaps it has something to do with him lashing out at the world after the 3-touchdown thrashing Auburn took at the hands of Georgia. Much like Philip is no longer playing for the top spot in the global RTDL rankings, Auburn, too, will be sitting out of the championship. Number 3, Crunch Flake comes in third on the naughty list with his decrease of 1,565 points. He seems to have been bogged down and is taking on water with all the Telltale and Lego games, as well as Minecraft. A bogged down Crunch Flake is a soggy flake, and a soggy flake is a naughty flake. Number 2, second from the bottom, is Zeckling, who has slid 1,657 points this month. Zeckling needs some heckling. 2 Chivos? 1 pop per week and a half? What the heck, Zek? Number 1, topping the naughty list, is Beast Middle, Smitty, himself with a huge drop of over 3,000 points. Unfortunately for Beast Middle, Smitty, there is no time to redeem himself, for Christmas has already passed in Australia. But he still has time to make up a New Year's resolution to not make the naughty list again. Regardless, he gets a big lump of coal this week. Hopefully he won't get it all over himself. Smutty! And that is your RTDL update. Naughty Ho or Nice Ho Ho List Edition.
Ooh. Is this the segment in the segment time?
Oh, well, yes. We do have time for a segment in a segment. Do you have any ideas for the segment in the segment?
Well, Elroy, do you remember last week when I put a question in the Discord room and I asked if anyone had any questions of their own to be read on our segment?
Oh, yeah. I remember that because I just got tons of messages.
Me too. We got tons. Shall we read some?
Well, yeah. But first, I just want to say I really appreciate all the support from the community. I mean, it's clear that they're taking a shining to the segment. But go ahead. Oh,
you're first.
I got a good one. All right. Let's start with Freemhole. He writes in, "Hey, Elroy. Good morning, good evening, or good day." I think I made him British there.
Australian.
Yeah. I know this is a couple weeks late. Has nothing to do with RTDL. and that I keep forgetting to mention this in the main show. But I wanted to go ahead and issue you a public apology when I doubted your knowledge about Street Fighter. Street Fighter 2's M. Bison, Balrog, Mike Tyson origins. I regret that I incorrectly corrected you and want you to know that I have since educated myself in this matter. Thank you for opening my eyes to this, and once again, I deeply apologize. Well, Frame, that's very big of you, but as M. Bison, Mike Tyson, Balrog clone himself would say in a cutscene after a victory, my fists have your blood on them. But I guess it would be more like in a Mike Tyson's voice. My fists have your blood on them.
Don't quit your day job. My fart barf buddy Stushnikin says that dopey RTDL is so stupid. How come Rocket League never shows up on my lists? Stu, buddy, I'm pretty sure you got all the achievements in it many months ago. Thanks for the question.
The Tominator 177 says, I noticed that every time B. Smitty is mentioned that you say his nickname. How did he get such an awesome nickname in the Z2Z community, and how do I get one? Tommy!
Ooh, Matriarch sends a letter. Hey, Al, which Halo game was I supposed to complete for you? How did this get in here? Keep going.
Fufu Cully Poof asks, Ed Elroy, which Neo Geo game best represents the Flat Earthers Christian Evangelical Society?
What? Did you say the Flat Earthers Christian Evangelical Society? Is that Feces for short?
Feces? Well, if it is, I would imagine the top spot in that case would be Montezuma's, Karnov's Revenge. Utter rubbish. And let's see, our last question comes from Skeptical Mario. It says, guys, great job on the show every week. I was disappointed last week when you didn't respect my request to say goodbye at the end of the segment. You should listen more to your listeners. Well, I mean, we are so glad that you enjoy the segment. I want you to know that we do listen to each of our listeners.
We sure do, Elroy. And because we do, we would sincerely like to